So,
All right, and we're live 1 minute late, like I always am.
woo, woo, woo.
But anyways, yeah, my video is going to be pretty dark, but so yeah, how's your weekend so far?
Dude, it's been great, man. We been off the whole week because I work, I work for a school.
Yeah.
We had we had the whole week off. Just got back from Denver.
Oh yeah, you saw Catatonia.
Yeah, we did. We sure did, and the Ocean Collective and Cellar Darling, which were really fun because they had a hurdy gurdy, and they were just
Oh,
like, yeah, it was really cool. And the girl,
kind of like a folk
oh yeah,
stuff. Okay,
it was kind of like
I
folk.
like some of that.
It was very like heavy, like standard heavy, with like folk elements with it, keyboards and stuff. And it was
Wow.
interesting because I know I don't know her name. They came from that folk metal band Eluvati, or
Okay, I know who that is.
so she was part of them, and she was their singer.
Okay.
And what I loved about her singing is that like she sounds like baby Annika van Giersbergen.
Oh shit,
Like
I'm already sold then.
Yeah, like early gathering, you know.
That's all you had to say, and I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm checking that shit out.
Yeah, and yeah, dude, it sounded really good. And then, well, I mean, Catatonia, dude. I mean,
yeah, how are
they're
Catatonia? I've still not gotten to see them. I missed, I think, 2 opportunities so far.
You know, as people may say that they're lame because there's a lot of people who are like,
their newer stuff sucks.
You know.
Yeah,
yeah, and so
I like it.
I think they should make no mistake. They are a heavy metal band, dude.
Yeah.
We can curse, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, they were fucking heavy.
No worries.
They were heavy, dude. I mean,
okay.
On album, it's so different. When you see it live, it's just heavy, dude.
Yeah. Hey, Pete. Glad to see you here. This is one of my viewers. Actually lives in England, so he's a massive Iron Maiden fan.
Hell yeah, dude. What's going on?
He's been there since the beginning, pretty much, with heavy metal.
Yeah,
but yeah, I want to see Catatonia so bad someday. But yeah. Like I said, I still like their newer stuff. It's still for me. It still works.
Yeah, their latest album I was not too fond of.
I actually don't think I heard that one yet, but I've heard most up to it.
City Burials, yeah, that's the only one that I'm kind of iffy about. Everything else, I love.
Okay.
Ha! Thanks, man.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Zombie.
Yeah, I mean, zombie fighting a shark. That's as cool as it gets.
Yeah, you can't really top that. And that was a real shark too.
Yeah.
They didn't have CGI or even the means to build a rubber shark back then.
I mean, or a trainer. I'm guessing.
Yeah, they had a shark and a trainer, and that's basically it. It probably wasn't the most humane process, but I mean,
probably not. But they got for a great shot,
But yeah. I mean, I'm sure the shark lived, and Peter's seen Catatonia a few times. Oh yeah, Peter's a massive Catatonia fan, also. Yeah.
Well, so I went to a record store. It was called Chain Reaction Records, and I'm not sure if you saw it on Instagram, but I picked up this bad boy.
Yeah. I love Diabolical Masquerade.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. Next to Nightwork.
Yeah, I don't. That's the one I don't have. Is the one you just showed, actually.
Oh, dude, it's killer.
And I've heard it though.
For the old schoolers, see if we can see that.
Oh, Road Rash.
Yeah, my brother took mine. So
that was one of my favorite games back then, actually.
Dude, to play for the Sega. Yeah, it was so fun.
Yeah, but that's one of the best.
Yeah, kind of going full circle. With Diabolical Masquerade, Anders was his brainchild.
Yeah,
phenomenal.
Yeah, some of the best Swedish black metal, actually. Like, believe it or not, I think it stands as near the top of the game for me. I think it's as good as almost anything that came out of Sweden, black metal wise, and he did it by himself.
Yeah,
mostly by himself.
Really, yeah, and that's why I thought it was really great, especially that one specifically because he had Dan Swano on drums, and a little, I think the Estonian choir or the Estonian orchestra to help out.
Okay,
but yeah, that last Catatonia, Peter is mentioning that He wasn't into it as well.
Seems to be a pretty common complaint.
Yeah, the new one. I mean, based off the new single, the Atrium single, I think you're gonna go back to the stuff that they were doing before.
Yeah, the more kind of heavy, depressive metal.
Sure, and I think
kind of progressive a little bit, I guess.
Very much, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think they're one of the bands that I kind of give a lot of leeway to, because I felt Opeth kind of just from one album to the next.
Yeah.
Did it, and I couldn't get over that.
Yeah, true. True. So, yeah, was that so for Opeth, was it too much of a change for you too quickly?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't like a complete change overnight, but it was a lot of change. Yeah, pretty fast for going from what was the last heavy album they did?
I think Watershed.
Yeah, Watershed.
Watershed to Heritage, I believe.
Yeah, Watershed to Heritage. Quick turnaround, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, like, Watershed still had some death metal vocals, not a lot, but it was still a fairly heavy album.
You could hear the keyboards, where the whatever the organ, whatever it was called, that they're using, it was already starting to become really part of the landscape.
True.
And so then when Heritage came, I guess to me, it still shocked me, you know. Mm-hmm. But then again, I'm not a big fan of Ghost Revelries or Watershed in either way.
Gotcha. So yeah, I'm not either. I like those albums, and I liked them when they came out, but I think over time I liked them a little less. I bet if I listened to them now, I would like them again a little bit more.
That's a very good point, because that's what I started doing with Heritage.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's not so bad.
Yeah, no, I actually like Heritage now. But when it came out, I had no interest in it at all.
Right.
I listened to it one time and I was like, this is lame. But I actually listened to it a couple of years back and I actually enjoyed it. So
yeah,
who knows? But anyways, yeah, so we're here to do the Iron Maiden discography ranking that I only just asked you to do yesterday. So
yeah,
I'm pretty surprised that you're here, because I find it a little bit more enjoyable to do these with someone else.
Yeah.
Peter's asking if anyone likes Bloodbath. I certainly do.
Oh, I love Bloodbath. I actually got to see them. Well, I guess it's cheating, I'd say, because I saw them twice on 70,000 Tons of Metal.
Cool.
So I saw them both sets. Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, I like them too. I've been following them, since the beginning, and I've enjoyed
the Breeding Death.
Everything.
Yeah, the Breeding Death EP fucking was outstanding.
I haven't listened to their newest album. I have it. I've had it for like a month. I need to put that on.
The newest one, it's more like thrashy.
Okay.
And it's like the logo is blue, right? Like
I love the logo. Yeah,
dude, it's killer, dude. Yeah, it's great.
Okay. Yeah, so Peter, it's more like old school thrash death metal type stuff.
Dude, it's so good.
That works for me.
Yeah, I don't know, Peter. I couldn't get into Harlequin Forest or any of those songs off Ghost Revelries, and but I mean, I do appreciate it more again as I got older, because initially I didn't really. I just like, that was it, one listen and that was it.
Yeah, you might like them more now, but it's hard to say if you actually want to give it another listen. You have to want to do it, or else it's just going to be a chore to get through. But
I agree. I mean, I had done a road trip to Phoenix, and I put on Morning Rise and Orchid, and
those still hold up perfectly.
Yeah, they're great. And then production wise, though, once I put on Still Life, dude, it was game over, man.
Yeah.
It's sterling, like it is just perfection.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of My Arms, Your Hearse too.
Oh yeah, dude, for sure. Yeah,
that's one of my favorites.
And it's funny how
go ahead.
Circle.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like Dan Swano had his hand in like a lot of these things.
He sure did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dan Swano is like he should just be like the king of Sweden, basically. Like,
no shit, right?
Ambassador of metal. And he seems like a really cool guy too. I've seen him in interviews and stuff. Like seems just like a regular, nice kind of Swedish dude, like
Yeah, I love the fact that like I believe it was before the pandemic hit. He was stateside East Coast.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I believe he was following Journey for a few shows.
Was he like working for them or?
No, he was just wanting to see them. So he caught them. As far as I can remember seeing on his Instagram, he kept putting different cities. Like,
so I wonder if he lives over here now.
I think they're in Germany.
Oh, okay.
Because I follow his wife also on there, and they're always, I believe they're in Germany.
Okay,
could be wrong, but yeah.
Cool. Well, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself since you've never been on this channel before.
Sure. So I really appreciate you inviting me over. I know it was like really super last minute, but
it was.
I love these kind of like ideas, right? So I'm Wolfman Dave, or just Dave, from That Metal Podcast. You guys can find us on pretty much any podcasting platform. We talk metal, we talk extreme metal, we talk black metal, everything. A lot of progressive metal, a lot of melodic death metal.
Your favorite genres?
Sure. And so we cover some other ones. So we did the sludge metal one. Although I admitted that I have to listen to that in small chunks and increments.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
But there is some good stuff to be found if you dig a little bit. And
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I really do like Neurosis a lot. And I've liked them for a long, long time, but a lot of the others, I can see there's some good music there, but it just kind of doesn't hit me the right way. It's not, but I know people that's their favorite subgenre is like sludge metal.
Right.
So, hey, cool. Take it,
Yeah, for sure.
And then I'll listen, people like that I'll listen to, like, all right, well, what are some bands you'd recommend? And I'm always up for challenging myself a little bit. Oh yeah. Peter brings up Pandemonium, which I really do like. That's a challenging band to listen to.
Oh, dude,
you've never heard them, but it's very unique stuff.
Yeah, it's a rough listen to, but yeah.
Well, it's so jarring because if you've never heard it, you've never heard anything like it. So your brain, you put it on, and your brain is not going to be able to
process,
give you any like, this sounds like this and this sounds like that, and
I agree.
You just have to just listen to it and just let it sink in. But it's pretty amazing.
I think it's for fans of like I'm not trying to sound elitist by any means. I'm just saying like veteran metalheads who
I would say so
are okay with like experimental stuff,
True. Yeah. I mean, and even then it's a hard listen, but
right.
It's pretty magical stuff. And like nothing sounds like it at all. I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone would want to even try to sound like that. To be honest.
No, I don't. I don't think they could anymore, at least. And
yeah, like what would you? I don't know. Yeah. That's just Dan Swano's stuff right there, and then no one else could follow that. But
right.
So yeah, I've been listening to a lot of Iron Maiden over the last 3 or 4 weeks. Even though I've heard all these albums, numerous times, or even dozens, or maybe hundreds of times.
Sure.
I don't know. I always like to run through the discography one last time, just to see if I, found something maybe I didn't notice before. And because I almost always do, especially for some of these that I hadn't listened to in a while. So just for that, and I actually even found a new appreciation for some of the old albums. So I'm glad that I did this, because before the last 3 or 4 weeks, I hadn't really been listening to Maiden a lot. I saw them live about a month ago, but I hadn't really been listening to them for the last couple of years. So
I think you're mentioning to me, which is oddly enough, you're listening more to Blue Oyster Cult.
Lots of BOC lately. Yeah.
So that's what I had been doing as well. And
and that's been amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm so glad I finally got into that band, because I'd been missing out. I can definitely say. So yeah, so what I usually do is, I mean, nothing special at all. I just rank them from the bottom to the top.
Okay.
We don't have to. It's not like a deep dive or anything like that. We don't have to. You can say anything you want about any of the albums, but don't feel pressured to like give a history lesson or anything like that, because I'm no expert either. But so 17 albums. And this isn't a Maiden album, but I was going to ask you, have you ever heard this Killers, the Murder One album?
I have not.
Have you ever heard of it? It's Paul Di'Anno's band. He's done it off and on for actually a long time. I think this album's from the early 90s.
Oh, okay.
It's actually really good. This is like his version of like Painkiller.
What?
It's
okay. Then I
really
gotta check that out. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't hear too many people talk about it. And then he had some other, I think a few other albums that weren't as good. Like he was trying to stay with the times, and he had like a tough guy, like Pantera type album. And I wasn't too into that,
what?
but yeah, that it doesn't work for me, but that album right there is awesome. And
okay.
It's yeah, Paul's a weird guy. I think him getting kicked out of Maiden really screwed up his career.
I agree.
He was I think he was on his way to being just one of the best metal singers of the time. Like if you listen to Iron Maiden and then listen to Killers, like his vocals, he almost doesn't even sound like the same guy.
Right.
And then I think he took a good break. I'm not an expert on what he did, but I don't think he did much for a while. So I think he lost a lot of time.
Right.
And probably, wasted some of his prime years, but
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. What can you do? It's too late now, but so yeah, 17 albums. Do you want to start with your number 17?
Sure. I think for me, I think right off the bat, having listened to many of the albums, this one just didn't really vibe with me. So Peter, not my number one. Well, my 17th spot would be No Prayer for the Dying.
All right.
I didn't really, as you would say, I don't know. There was just something about it. I mean, there's a couple of songs on there.
I agree.
Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter. Let me see. What was the other one?
I have my copy. Well, I don't know what. I guess I can't say the one, but
yeah. Let's see. Holy Smoke.
Holy Smoke. Yeah.
Holy Smoke was all right. Yeah, but after that, I was just kind of like, I don't know. It was kind of boring to me,
Yeah. No, I can't disagree with you there. It's got a few decent songs, but and it's not a terrible album,
right.
But it's definitely not great. It doesn't stack well next to pretty much everything that came before it.
Right.
This is for me. This is the first album where it's like, oh no,
yeah,
they're starting to fall apart a little bit at the seams, but they'd come back, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Let's see. I wrote it down just so I don't screw up. I brought my CDs with me, but it's not real important. And there's two albums that I don't have. One that I used to have, and one that I've never had. So my number 17 is going to be Virtual 11. So yes. Peter, there you go. And I will say, I might be in the minority a little bit, but to some extent, I like all the Iron Maiden albums. Like, I don't dislike entirely any album they've ever done. So there are some that I won't listen to for years and years and years, but I always like to return to even the ones that I don't like as much. I think Virtual 11, I think I've only heard twice. And, but I will say I listened to it. I think it was yesterday. As an album in its entirety, I don't hate it. I mean, it's, Blaze Bayley was not a great replacement for Bruce Dickinson. I think he was, I don't think he had the confidence to really, fill such large shoes. And
I don't think so either. Yeah.
Can't really blame him. And he's not a bad singer in his own right. He just doesn't have the right range. If you see him live, he really struggles to sing some of those Bruce songs. And
yeah. Oh yeah.
But that doesn't have anything to do with it. The album has a couple duds on there. I do like the first song, Future Real. The concept I think is so stupid, but
yeah.
As a song, I think that's okay. I think there's a couple decent tunes on there, but yeah, I probably won't, return to this one for a while, but I don't think it's like a 0 out of 10 or anything. I'd probably give it at least a 4 or 5 out of 10.
Sure.
But,
yeah.
I could see that was the second and the last album with Blaze, and it was an interesting period for the band to say the least.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So you're at number 16.
Yeah. So mine would be the X Factor. So the X Factor was, I love the cover art. That'll look cool. I'm pretty sure Eddie's getting either a lobotomy or something's going on with Eddie.
It's a weird cover art. Is it like claymation or something?
Yeah, something like that, right?
Yeah.
this one was good, man. I mean, in terms of the cover art, I'm saying, but no, I think what did it for me was, let's see, I heard Sign of the Cross, Man on the Edge. But it's just not there. And again, it has to do with Blaze, man. Like, he's just very it almost sounds like he has something in his mouth when he's singing.
And he's kind of monotone, and
he doesn't bring anything. He doesn't like change it up.
I would agree.
Yeah,
I would agree.
So that's my 16th.
Yeah, you really can't argue with that. Although that album has grown on me, it's still not like a favorite by any means.
Right.
Yeah. So my number 16, where am I at? I'm gonna go for not too far from where you were with No Prayer for the Dying from 1990.
Yeah.
Pretty much everything you said. I like. So this album to me, like the funny thing is, even though it's the first album that I think that they would start to kind of slip, but if you listen to it, like they don't sound uninspired or tired or anything like that. They still sound energetic. They still sound like they believe in the music that they wrote. I just think that they've been touring and writing nonstop for 10 plus years. And I think they were tired, but I don't think it really necessarily showed. But this album is a little bit more melodic, and it's not as epic as, the earlier stuff, even though they did try. There's a couple long songs on here. I think Bruce sounds good. I think he does some cool vocal stuff where he starts to do like that, like a little bit like gnarlier sounding vocals, and it's kind of cool. Yeah, even he looks cool. He's got a mustache in this period. but yeah, it doesn't hold up super well. I'd probably give it like at least a 5 out of 10. But listen to it a few times in the last month, and I probably won't return to it for a while.
Right, I agree with you though. It's not as epic. There's something lackluster about it, and that's probably what it is. I mean, it's just they were probably tired, not showing it, but they probably were tired.
They had to have been. And they were working so hard for literally a decade straight, probably not taking a break at all.
Oh no. Yeah.
So it's gonna happen, you can't really.
Yeah, it's natural that's just happening.
Oh yeah, Man on the Edge is that the Falling Down song. Yeah, Peter. Yeah, it is. The only cool thing I like about that song is that it's about the movie Falling Down, which is an awesome movie.
Oh, dude, Kirk Douglas.
But the song is. But a lot of that is Steve's fault too, because he wrote the entire thing basically. That's when Steve really started to like really drilling those choruses in way too much, and he's never really stopped.
Right.
Since then, although there's a couple times where he's done a little better. We'll get to that point, but yeah, I think X Factor could have been like. What do you think if X Factor had been with Bruce on vocals? What do you think that album? Do you think that would change quite a bit?
Yeah, I think so.
Me too.
I think so.
Because the songs aren't too bad, and some of them are actually really good. I mean, they still play Sign of the Cross live all the time with Bruce, and it's a total new song almost.
It's a great, dude. Oh, dude, when they did it, I guess this past tour, fucking awesome, man.
And I honestly, that song that album was probably written for Bruce, I would imagine.
That's a very good point. You're right.
Steve had probably been writing those tunes before Bruce left, so I mean, it was probably written for him. But whatever.
Damn. Yeah, I know, right? Damn.
It would be interesting to hear them re-record that with Bruce on vocals. I think that'd be kind of cool. Haven't.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think they're interested in that kind of thing.
Yeah, maybe
they're always moving forward.
Yeah, I'm sure Blaze would be pissed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he wouldn't be happy. He seems like a pretty cool guy, though. I've seen interviews with him.
Yeah,
he just seems like a nice guy. He has nothing bad to say about anybody. He's full on admits, like, I wasn't a good replacement, but I wasn't going to say no either. And, I gave it a shot. It didn't really work. But I'm glad that I did it. Is basically his story,
He's definitely not Ripper Owens. Now that dude's something else,
No, yeah, you're right. Yeah, he doesn't quite have, those vocal skills. I actually do like a lot of Ripper stuff. So,
yeah, I think I like his version of, I don't know. I don't want to say more, but his Diamonds and Rust, the acoustic one.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good version live. You mean right?
Yeah,
live,
live one. Yeah,
No, I agree. Like, I actually like that live '98 Meltdown. I think it's called.
That's the one.
It's a really good live album.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people talk about it, but those that know, I think like it.
Yeah, he did a great job. And I mean, the Demolition and was it a Jugulator?
I like Jugulator a lot.
Yes.
I've gone on record saying.
Yeah, those were heavy.
I didn't like Demolition as much, but Jugulator I love.
I agree.
Legitimately love Jugulator.
Yeah.
But where are we at? Number I think you're at your number 15.
15. Yeah, so my 15 would be Virtual 9. And that one, again, not as epic, kind of lackluster.
I don't like the concept either. Like,
yeah,
it's like old dudes trying to, let's write this album about technology that we probably don't know anything about. And
and I mean, look at how far we've gotten. You know what I mean? So that's interesting. The Klansman,
I like
probably
the Klansman, right?
Great. Still to this day, Lightning Strike Twice. It's another great one.
Yeah,
Future Real. I agree with you that it's dumb lyrically, but I mean, the song
it's a cool song. Yeah,
it's a cool song, but yeah.
Angel and the Gambler is a pretty bad song, I think.
Yeah,
that track 2. I don't like that one. That one's pretty stupid.
yeah. Let's see, what is Peter saying?
He hasn't heard Senjutsu yet, but he's curious where we're going to put that. Well, it's looking okay so far.
I mean, it depends because, like, for me, Senjutsu needed a little bit of editing in terms of length.
Yeah, totally, absolutely.
Song length.
Yeah.
What were they, like, averaging 5 to 8 minutes, maybe?
At least, yeah.
So if they had gone between the 4 and the 6, I think they would have been easily a little bit more digestible, I think.
Oh, totally.
But yeah, we'll get to that album when we get to that album.
Yeah, right? Yeah. For me, it's coming pretty soon. Okay. Yeah. So I'm at number 15 now. Okay, my number 15 is actually going to be Senjutsu. Everyone's seen it. I probably don't have the right lighting to show any of these.
I could see it.
I mean, I do like this album. I wouldn't say a lot. I like it. I kind of feel bad for putting it so low, but for one, it's still the newest album, so I couldn't put it too high. I guess some of the ones I rank above it might be questionable, but I really like the first song. I think it's the title track.
Yes.
Yeah, that song is awesome, and that's actually the song they're using to open with right now.
Yeah.
Live. I think that song is great. Stratego is good.
Yeah.
And then there's some good stuff, sprinkled in throughout. What I'd recommend to people is, if you haven't listened to it yet, or if you're going to listen to it again, break it up into 2 listens. Just listen to 1 disc at a time, because that's just too much to try to focus on in one sitting. It's like 2 hours long.
Yeah, I agree.
So I wouldn't, maybe the first time, maybe do that, but then even that one time, you're probably going to burn yourself out. It's just, some of the songs are just way too drawn out. I know Steve likes to do that kind of thing. He has for a while, but he's getting even, I don't want to say worse, but I don't know. I think that's just where he's at right now, where he wants to do. Steve loves progressive rock and stuff like that. So he's always been inspired by, like 70s prog rock. Right. So I think he likes that kind of drawn out, songs that aren't getting anywhere in a hurry.
Yeah, they're not in a rush. Exactly.
Yeah. And I think it was intentional. I think that's the atmosphere he wanted to go for. I wouldn't say that's necessarily what every Maiden album is going to sound like. Because I mean, Senjutsu doesn't really sound that much like Book of Souls, you know, and those are only a couple years apart. So I'm hoping that's just what he wanted to do with Senjutsu, and he's going to do something different on the next album. And I mean, who knows? They probably don't have that many albums left in them anyways. They're all in their mid 60s. Yeah.
Right.
I listened to an interview with Steve actually not too long ago, and he was talking about how, I guess, Bruce is the one that is getting more and more wanting to retire. So, and you've probably heard the rumors. Bruce might retire and the band might keep going, but they haven't said for sure yet. But so Bruce asks him, so, hey Steve, so how many more albums do you want to do? And this is before Senjutsu came out, and Steve was like,
yeah.
What do you mean? I haven't even really thought about quitting yet. And Bruce is like, huh, okay. I thought maybe you had, but so that's the rumors, is that that Bruce, and you can't blame him.
Yeah, which kind of explains maybe why he took that time to do the spoken word tour.
Yeah,
to explore that. Maybe doing.
Bruce has always been a guy that wants to explore other avenues.
Yeah,
he's had all his solo albums and his other ventures that he does, and he seems like a guy that probably never really rests too much.
It would be amazing to see if he and Henry Rollins did a little tour, a spoken word tour.
That'd be interesting, actually.
That would be awesome, yeah.
A double bill or whatever.
Yeah.
Peter asked if anyone liked British Lion. I only listened to one song, and I was like, I'm done.
The same. I tried listening to one of the first albums that Steve did.
Yeah.
And it was just
not for me.
It wasn't the same. Like, for example, something that struck me that I was immediately on board with when Thin Lizzy had to change their name to the what is it, the Black Star Riders, or
Black Star Riders,
I think they changed their name. I was on board with that first album than they did. And
I've heard it's pretty good. I haven't heard it, but
yeah. I mean, they got the singer. He sounds just like Phil from Thin Lizzy.
Yeah,
and they were doing great. I'm not trying to say that British Lion is trying to do something like that, but they were the direction that they took with and creating sort of this hard rock approach was just still kind of bland.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Yeah,
I thought it was bland. And honestly, I've never heard anyone talk about that album and say that they liked it. Or I think they have 2 albums now.
Yes,
either one. I've never heard anyone be like, I really like those. I've never, not even one time.
Right.
Someone out there does, but
sure,
no one that I know personally. So I don't know. Not for me, I guess. So where are we at? Are you at your number 14?
14. So this is where we get into the nitty gritty, right? This is where I'm pretty sure this is where we're gonna change. So my number 14th is Fear of the Dark. I felt that album was pretty one-sided in terms of 1 or 2 cool songs, and that's it. I mean, it was just, let me see.
I've heard a lot of people say that. Yeah.
I mean, obviously the Fear of the Dark song, obviously Be Quick or Be Dead.
Yeah, I really like those.
But from there, I mean, I tried and it was just like, I couldn't do it, man.
Yeah, it just doesn't work for you.
No. Great album cover.
Yeah, I like the cover. It's really cool. Yeah.
Great album cover.
Yeah.
Just Fear of the Dark. I mean, that song itself is killer.
Yeah, it is. Still in their live set.
Oh yeah.
I don't think it's ever left their live set.
No, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah. It's a great. Don't they usually? I think they usually put that later on, or real late into their set, and then maybe they end with it. I can't remember, but yeah, it's a good one. I'll get into that album. Actually, for me, I have a little bit of a different story on it, just because of the time that I got into it, which is always a big deal,
What's interesting to me is and this one came out in 1992 versus 92. No Prayer for the Dying 90. And I'm just kind of wondering if that's where we started to see the.
I'd say so, yeah.
The they're tired and.
Yeah. Plus, the 90s were just rough for everybody,
Dude.
Musically, except for the new genres like death metal, black metal. Those were just coming in, but
they were thriving.
The traditional metal. I mean, what was
hair metal died out.
Yeah, hair metal died out. Grunge came quick and left almost as fast as it came, and just things were just changing too much, and it all simmered down. But for the time, it seemed pretty rough.
That was what was interesting is they kind of did this thing where they were supposedly anti-establishment, fuck the man, you know what I mean? It was just kind of like that, like this punk, almost like a punk attitude.
Yeah.
and it's so ironic that they just got so huge.
Yeah, true.
And then it was like they completely messed up the market. The record labels are scrambling for who's the next grunge band, and it was an interesting time. I very much dislike grunge.
I like a couple of the bigger bands,
but you know what, Soundgarden, dude.
Yeah, I like Soundgarden a lot.
Yeah, and I love Smashing Pumpkins. Billy Corgan's his guitar tone.
Yeah, I actually like a lot of the early Smashing Pumpkins stuff too.
Yeah, but I mean, and then there's other ones like Grunt Truck. I think like they're more chunky, a little more heavier bands.
Yeah. Did you ever listen to Tad?
I did not.
Tad I like a lot. Yeah. Peter's asking if I do not remember this because I wasn't really alive. Well, I mean, I was alive, but I was like a baby. But does anyone remember Dennis Wilcock? Dude used to run the sword through his mouth and have blood. That sounds awesome. But no, I don't know if he's on any. Are there any demos with him on vocals?
That would be interesting to see. Dude, that's fucking cool, man.
It sounds awesome.
Yeah,
Be Quick or Be Dead. Remember that song? Yeah, Be Quick or Be Dead is a really cool song. That's probably my favorite from the album.
Yeah,
that or Fear the Dark, and then
right.
Yeah, Entombed wipe out as quick as they started. Yeah, that's true. Entombed, they had 2 good albums, and then, geez, they just never, in my opinion, never got back. I don't.
What was it? Wolverine Blues and.
I used to try to like Wolverine Blues, but now I'm just like I have no time for that album. It just doesn't do anything for me nowadays.
Yeah,
and I don't like any of the Entombed AD stuff.
Right.
But so my number 14 is I feel a little weird putting this up this high, but it's still not that high. But X Factor.
Yeah.
I have it's 71 minutes long, so it's too long. I have a newer appreciation for it. I never really hated it. I think we've pretty much already gone into it. I think it would have been a better album with Bruce on vocals. The first 2 songs I love, Sign of the Cross and Lord of the Flies.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 a.m.'s good. The Unbeliever, The Edge of Darkness is pretty good. But yeah, it's too long. And Blaze's vocals are just too monotonous. And it's just, it would have been interesting to hear with Bruce, but Bruce isn't on it. So it doesn't rank as high. So that's pretty much all I have to say about that. I probably like it more than a lot of people, but I definitely don't love it. Let's see. Yeah.
Would you say that it would be Load and Reload where you kind of don't hate them, but you'll revisit it every once in a while?
I like it more than Load and Reload, but growing up I did like those 2 albums, but I don't listen to those too much anymore. But and I almost wanted to put it a little higher, but some of the more recent albums that I've been listening to lately, I'm like, okay, these are better than I thought they were. So
Mm-hmm.
So those actually go above it, obviously.
Yeah.
So where you're at number 13, I think. Yeah.
Yes. So my 13th would be Dance of Death, 2003. Don't know what the hell happened here, but
with the album cover,
that was atrocious.
Yeah, it was.
It's like, did they even try?
I know.
Absolutely abysmal. But no, I mean the songs were all right. Probably the first 3: Wildest Dreams, Rainmaker, No More Lies. Dance of Death was all right.
Yeah, title track's pretty cool.
And I don't know how to pronounce that. Passchendaele,
yeah.
Yeah.
I like that one too.
But it's just kind of like it came out during the time when I had just seen I had seen them with Motorhead and Dio. And
that'd be cool. That's a cool show.
Yeah. And it was just this cemented, all the albums up until that point. They only played, I think, Rainmaker. No, they played Wildest Dreams on that tour.
So they only played one song from the album on that tour?
Yeah, the album had not been... I think the album came out later on, but it was like, hey, you guys want to hear a new song? And it was one of those things. And they played off the Dance of Death, and it was all right. It was all right, but I mean, at that point, I was what 20, and I was like, nah, dude, all this new stuff is gonna probably suck and blah blah. So I was kind of like, old school's better.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one didn't do it for me either way though, but it's still much better than the other previous albums that I had.
Yeah, this is Dance of Death is actually one of the albums that only recently has started to click with me. Yeah. So I for you, I would say return to it in a while when you feel like giving it another chance. And I think it's better than it's definitely better than I thought it was. It has some gems in there.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's not a whole dud.
No.
So and then this is where it starts to get a little bit tougher because of that reason that we're talking about,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my number 13, and this is the other album of theirs I don't own. I actually had it when it came out and I got rid of it. I actually wish I would have kept it, but The Final Frontier.
Yes.
I think it's from 2008 or 2009. And again, I liked it a lot when it came out. And then after a few listens, I was like, I don't like this at all. But then, so I got rid of it. Now I've re-listened to it a couple of times and I like it again. So I think it's much better than I, for some reason, had thought it was. And so that's, before I would have probably put this a lot lower, but, I like it so much more now. Let's see, which songs do I like? I might not even really be able to go into it because I'm bad with song titles. I know I liked Isle of Avalon. That was a cool one. That's like one of the epic long songs.
Yeah.
The Talisman. I like that one. Another long song. Almost all the songs actually are pretty long on this.
Yeah, they are.
It's an hour and 16 minutes. Holy crap.
Damn.
Steve that's just what he does. The last decade or two, he's just writing these long songs and these long albums. Yeah. I will say though, I listened to this the other day. It didn't feel like 75 minutes to me. So I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But it only really started to grow on me again. So I can't really go into detail. It's just that I'm glad that I have a new appreciation for it. And who knows, maybe in a couple of years, if I were to redo this, it might rank a little higher.
That would be interesting, huh?
Yeah. So for now, it's number 13. I originally probably was going to put this, more near the bottom.
So, well, it's actually my 12th. So,
okay.
Final Frontier is my 12th. Yeah, I think I kind of feel the same way. It kind of surprised me, because when I had first heard it, I was like, no, nope, and I just completely dismissed it.
Yeah.
And then I started listening to it again, and I was like, you know what? It's not as bad as what I thought it was before.
No, there's some cool progressive parts in there too that I didn't notice. That's Steve's. I actually wish Steve would do more of that. How would you feel about Maiden doing a more progressive, even more progressive than they've ever done? I think it'd be really cool.
I think they have the chops to do it.
Definitely.
I think they have the know-how to do it. I think they should actually.
And Steve likes that. He likes to put a little bit of that flair in there. But I think if he went full on with that, and maybe that's just not what he has. Maybe he has no interest in that. But if he were to have interest in doing that, I'd really like to hear it.
Yeah.
Steve's, he's set in his ways. I would never want him to do something that, he wasn't in 100%, but I'd like to hear it. Peter's, so there's an early years Iron Maiden DVD. Sounds like we both need to get this.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess that's where you can see that, really early stuff.
Yeah.
And he's never listened to Load or Reload. At this point, if you haven't heard it by now, I think it's way too late,
Oh, Peter.
I don't think you could appreciate it now.
I think you're fine. Don't listen to them. And I kind of agree with him too. And Justice for All was their last greatest album.
Oh, for me, yeah, definitely. And I like that album a lot.
That's my favorite. I mean, that album is progressive as hell, dude.
It is.
The chime changes, just everything that's going on. The guitar,
it's more technical. Yeah.
Oh yeah, by far. I'm like, and it was funny because I don't know if you had
their heaviest album too,
dude, by far. Have you heard their podcast that they did for?
No,
they did like 5 episodes.
I'd listen to that though, but no, I haven't.
It was interesting because they hated that album.
Was it the whole band, or was it like just James and Lars? Or
I don't think they had Trujillo in there, but it's all.
I could picture him being like, "I'll sit this out, you guys."
Yeah, I think he might have voluntarily just said, "I wasn't even there, guys, so I can't really talk."
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Why would he? I mean, no disrespect, but yeah. You know.
But my understanding is that they didn't like it because the crowd was just kind of bored, and that they even mentioned that some of them were just staring at the ceiling, and they were just like,
yeah, okay. A lot of people don't get that album. Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand why.
Yeah, and so that kind of forced them to think. Supposedly, people close to the band saying, "You know, what the fuck did you guys do? How about you strip it down and make it, you know, just, you know, simple is better."
And yeah,
and so that was the approach after that. So that was interesting. You know?
Definitely was.
Yeah, it's been since.
I can't listen to the Black Album anymore. I liked it when I was, you know, like 14, but I can't return to it. I just have no interest in going back to it.
Yeah, you're right, man. It's
not bad. I mean, it's not a bad album, really. You can't. It's a well-written album.
It's a good hard rock album. It's not metal by any means.
Yeah. I just can't really go back to it. Maybe someday, but yeah, I've thought about it. Like, oh, should I ever listen to the Black Album? And every time I think about it, I just don't have the urge to actually go ahead with it. So.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, so where were we at? We're at your
you're 12. That's
right. Yeah, because you went with Dance of Death right after I did. So I might actually make a last minute flip flop. I'm going to go with Dance of Death for my number 11. So we're pretty close on that. I'm going to flip flop it with my original number 12 last minute. But yeah, Dance of Death is another album like Final Frontier where I actually never could get into that album. And I've listened to it a couple times in the last few weeks. And actually, I like it so much more now than I ever have. It's kind of similar to the Final Frontier where it's got some cool proggy stuff sprinkled in there. I actually, like I said, I wouldn't mind if Steve did a little bit more of that, but I like it more now than I did. Passchendaele is a cool kind of epic song that's about some war. I'm no history buff, but it's about a war. Wildest Dreams and Rainmaker, pretty cool.
Yeah.
The title track, Dance of Death, actually, I think it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
New Frontier, I liked. The last song, Journeyman, I liked too. That's probably the most like Iron Maiden sounding song here. But yeah, I'm glad that I had pretty much written this off for a long time, and I'm glad I, you know, forced myself to listen a few times because now, actually, you know, kind of like Final Frontier, I think this album would actually rank higher if it clicked with me, you know, earlier on. But for now, I'm going to do that. I'm going to put it at number 12. And yeah, the cover art is so dumb.
It is bad.
Almost the entire layout is pretty dumb. There's some decent photography on the inside, but there's some really bad, like the graphic they use for the CD, like the sunburst thing is bad.
Yeah, it's pretty.
I think they were trying to do. They're not tech savvy guys, and I think they were just trying to do something new, and it didn't work, and they never returned to that. I'm sure they're like, "Fuck this computer shit."
Yeah,
we're not going back to that.
Well, what's interesting is it was only 2003. The animation was way better than that. You know what they showed.
True.
That was more like late 90s. You know what they showed.
It had to have been, yeah, because I mean that was 2003. I don't know.
Yeah, that was 2003.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it right now. I'm trying to think of what games were like in 2003. It's probably not too far off, but well, animation wise, yeah. But I think this was done. I think this was supposed to be like video game graphics.
Sure. Yeah.
So that if you look at it that way, it makes sense. But yeah, you don't ever want to do that as cover art because in a thing that's always changing, it's never going to look. You know, most video games don't look good. Only very few video games like hold up as far as graphics. So that's just how it works.
Yeah.
But yeah, Peter. So yeah, Black Album is bad. Bought it. So you were 16 when it came out. I think I was 8 when it came out. So I didn't hear it when it came out, but I heard it maybe when I was 12 or 13.
Yep.
And I liked it a lot at the time. Yeah, liked it a lot. I've listened to it many times. So I'm glad it gave me a lot of entertainment when I was a teenager. As did Load and Reload. I liked those a lot when I was younger.
Yeah.
So I can't fault them for that. They provided me a lot of entertainment and expanding my tastes and all that.
Oh yeah, that's all you could ask for right there.
Yeah. And to be fair, I think Load actually has a few good songs. I don't know if they hold up. What do you think?
I love Load.
Okay.
But that one took me a long time.
Did it?
Yeah, that one took me a really long time to where I was like, I know this isn't standard Metallica.
Yeah.
But I was like,
you looked at it the right way. You looked at it as what it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's important. I think
yes.
But even if so for example, you know how I was never a fan of Ghost.
Yeah. I love Ghost, I'll admit.
Right. And so what was interesting to me is I heard the new album and honestly heard it and I was like, okay. And I was like, I like what they're going with, what they were doing with it.
Yeah.
Because I had already had that appreciation for the Night Flight Orchestra. Kind of going this, the Electric Light Orchestra.
Yeah.
Early 80s stadium rock / disco kind of mix.
Yeah.
And I saw the change in Ghost and what they were trying to do and what they were trying to accomplish. And I was able to appreciate Impera a lot because of that,
Yeah. The new Ghost album is my least favorite so far, but I'm still digesting it, I guess. I might like it. I might like it more in the future, but so far it's my least favorite.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've heard that's why I was compelled to listen to it.
Yeah.
And I was like, a lot of people are like, what the hell is this? And I was like, okay, now I gotta check it out then.
Yeah, it is their catchiest, their most melodic.
Very catchy.
Yeah. But it's still not. There are definitely some good songs in there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just it doesn't click with me. Even their last album to me, I was like, okay, this is I think their worst album. But it really grew on me, and it has some of their best songs actually.
I think you were.
So I was hoping this one would be similar.
You were mentioning that the first album really is the one to get.
Yeah, I like the first album the most. My second favorite would probably be their third album, Youre.
Okay.
And then I would go for their second album and then their last album in that order, basically. Not the last one, the one before the newer one. I always forget the name. And then, the newer one is my least favorite. But
yeah,
I don't hate it, but I'm just a little bit disappointed. But,
right.
That's just because I liked all the other ones so much.
Oh no, I could see that.
Oh, Peter was comparing Metallica and Justice for All to Sabbath Stream. Yeah, I like Sabbath a lot too.
Yeah,
amazing thrash metal.
So
very underrated too.
That's with Andy Sneap, right?
Andy Sneap and Martin Walkyier, and it's an amazing band.
Yeah.
Ghost looks like a band I should like, but I don't. I get that they look very cool.
Yeah,
I could see somebody seeing them and be like, "Oh,
this isn't what I thought it was
this must be black metal or something extreme," and then they sound all melodic. I get that. Yeah, I really do like Ghost's presentation as far as like their costumes and stuff. Very cool.
Speaking of, what did you feel about King Diamond's new setup?
Oh, with Merciful Fate, I think he looks great.
He's a little ghosty. No, you don't think?
Yeah, I guess so. I also think he looks kind of black metal, like.
Oh yeah,
more black metal, and kind of. Yeah, you're right. I mean, he might have taken a little bit of inspiration from Ghost, who were probably inspired from him. Maybe might have went full circle.
Yeah, right there.
I'd be curious to hear because I know King Diamond has always been a fan of metal. I'd be curious to see what he thinks of Ghost, if he's a fan or not.
Yeah. Did you hear him in Apsu?
King Diamond? He in the Terra album. Yeah, he does like some backing vocals and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Super gnarly, man.
That's awesome. My favorite Apsu album too.
Oh no, yeah, for sure.
And so him and Proscriptor from Apsu, they've actually been friends for a lot of years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they live in Dallas, or
they both live in the same. Yeah, well, yeah, you're in Texas too, so you're you're not far from any of those guys,
right?
Either.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Apsu and King Diamond. Also, those are some of my favorite bands.
How crazy is that, huh? Just mix.
Totally. Merciful Fate, King Diamond. You don't like? Oh yeah, I mean, I do get that. Some people don't like King's vocals. You're not the only one I've heard say that, which is. I don't think I liked him either when the first time I heard King Diamond. I don't think I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, I was listening to a lot of Priest and Maiden. I think maybe even some Queensryche. So I was used to, like, top tier metal vocals.
Sure.
And King's a good singer. He's not a great singer, but he's just.
I agree.
Well, he is a great singer, but it's because of his style and his presentation. But on a technical level, maybe not. But I love his style, and I love everything about his vocals.
I think what the way I see his vocals are in the same way, he's celebrating metal, and the same way Manowar, for example, uses metal as their theme.
Yeah,
lyrically,
he's got his basically like, this is how I sound, and this is the best I can do, and my charisma and everything is going to make up for what maybe I'm not going to be Jeff Tate.
Sure. His storytelling for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm a big fan. So anyways, where did we leave off? I think it's probably your turn, huh?
11th. Yeah. So my 11th pick is Senjutsu. I think it's a very safe album. Not sure if Maiden are showing their age.
It's hard to say,
at this point, because it's very mid-paced. Not too fast, not too heavy.
It's not lazy. You can't say it's a lazy album.
For sure. That's where my comment came in from earlier, saying that they should have edited a little bit. Kind of snipped some of the songs.
I agree,
because they're quite lengthy.
Some of them are too drawn out for me.
Yeah, sure, and it does become exhausting. Not to be mean, but because it's Maiden, but it's, again,
you're just being honest.
Sure. But yeah, I mean, that album, it was good, dude. I mean, it's a good album. It's a good, solid album. I think I would give it probably like a 6 out of 10 if I had to give it a score.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. I think I've listened to it 3 times, and I'm not done with it. I'm done with it for a while, but I'm going to return to it maybe in a year or so. I'm not shelving it forever, like I've done with some albums.
Yeah, I agree.
But like I said, anyone who either has heard it and they were just instantly overwhelmed, or anyone who hasn't heard it, I would recommend just not listening to it all at once.
Just chunk it.
Yeah, it's because that's what I did this last time. I listened to it in 2 listens, and I was really glad that I did.
Right. And
I liked it more. So, yeah. So I flip-flopped. So my number 11 now is, it was originally going to be Dance of Death. Now it's going to be Book of Souls. I decided to bump that up just one more spot.
Okay.
Because I liked this album literally as soon as it came out. I liked it.
Oh yeah.
I think I like it actually more now. Like Senjutsu, though, it does have some filler because it's too long. I think the first disc is better than the second. I mean, the first one has some really great songs. Like, honestly, the first track on this album I think is so good. It's just so brooding and dark, and it's just really dark. What's it called? If Eternity Should Fail, and it's 8 minutes, but it doesn't feel 8 minutes to me. Speed of Light is a really fun song. Speed of Light sounds like something that could have been off, 1985 or 86 Maiden.
Yeah.
And then I like the rest of the first disc. The second disc, the second disc is where there's filler, but the last song, Empire of the Clouds, which is 18 minutes, is maybe my favorite part of the album.
That's a big boy.
It's a big boy. It's a cool song, but it's very prog metal. That's what I like about it. It's half the song's guitar solos, but in a good way. Yeah. For me, that's like it's like their Dream Theater song. That's like the most technical and progressive they've ever been. And it's a great way to end it. But disc 2 for me is a lot of filler, but I really, really like the album. I wish I could rank it higher, but obviously I can't because they have too many really amazing albums. So,
right.
Yeah, that'd be my number 11, Book of Souls from 2018.
Good.
Or 2018? 2015.
2015.
Jesus. I was going to say, that's not right. Yeah.
2015, yeah.
Yeah.
So, my number 10, A Matter of Life and Death. This one is a chunky boy. This one's heavy.
Sure is.
This was one of the more surprised the shit out of me. Because when I heard it, I was like, oh shit, there's another. What is this? 2006, I think. And I was like,
I think so, yeah.
There's another Iron Maiden album. I didn't even realize this because I think they had just done, a few years before Brave New World, I think.
They were pretty consistent.
Final
Frontier,
Dance of Death,
or Dance of Death. Sorry, yeah.
They had just done Dance of Death, and I was like, holy shit, there's another album out. I didn't realize it. Man, this one has it's just a heavier.
It is
a little heavier Iron Maiden. These Colors Don't Run, a great song.
Yeah. I like it quite a bit too.
Yeah. I was really surprised by this one.
Me too. Yeah. Listened to it a lot when it came out.
Yeah. I see. That's the thing is I didn't.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be revisiting this more often. And
I think you're going to like it. Yeah. I think it's going to grow on you. It sounds like you already do like it, but I think it's going to grow on you more. I think you like it more the more you listen to it. I really, instead of going the other direction, the more you listen, the less you like it. I think you're going to like it more.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a dense album, but not too dense.
No, I love that. I mean, I love when there's like this was only 10 songs.
Yeah,
it's easy to digest. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's see. How long is it? It's long, but it's not. To me, this is where they combined length and the depth of the material just right.
Mm-hmm.
It's not too long. It's not. I mean, it's long. It's 71 minutes, but it works.
Yeah,
it works.
Right, and there's varying song lengths there.
Yeah, there absolutely is. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'm glad you're giving that one more time because I think you'll like it more. So, Peter, what's the last Maiden album you heard?
Yeah.
Is it all this new Maiden? And I get it. I know a lot of people that jumped off in the 90s, but I'm curious to where the last album you've heard, but I really think that you should go back and give it a shot. So yeah, my number 11, is that where I'm at? No.
10.
I'm at 10. So I almost want to flip-flop my number 9 and number 10, but I'm just going to leave this one alone.
Okay.
So my number 10 is going to be the self-titled album from 1980. And I just listened to it again last night. This is the one Iron Maiden album where this almost could be a different band.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a bad way, because it is a cool album, but man, they would progress so much from this to Killers.
Yeah.
And I think Killers, this album in a lot of bands' discographies could rank really high, but Killers to me is so much better. It makes this self-titled album look bad. I do like it. I mean, Diano, the progression they've made it's hard for me to say a lot of good things about it. Prowler's a great song, and I really love Remember Tomorrow's an amazing song. You ever hear Opeth cover that?
Yeah, for sure.
They killed it.
They did. Yeah.
I think I like their version more, but
just a little bit.
Running Free, Phantom of the Opera. There's a lot of. I mean, actually, every song on here is pretty much classic.
Right.
Charlotte the Harlot, Strange
World. Love that.
Yeah, Transylvania, the instrumental. You always got to have a cool instrumental.
Yeah.
It's a great album, but like I said, every time I listen to it, I compare it to Killers, and then it makes me like it a little bit less.
Yeah.
Again, in most bands' discographies, this would be a 9 out of 10, but since it's Maiden and they got so much better, it's hard. I wanted to put it lower, but I wanted to give it the respect it deserves. So I put it at number 10. I mean, they weren't even into their, classic lineup yet. They still had Dennis Stratton on guitars. Who's great. I'm a big Dave Murray fan.
Yes.
Dave Murray's my guy in Maiden. They still had Clive Burr on drums, who's also great, but I'm a Nico guy. Sure. So, and I love Paul Di'Anno, but he sounds so much better on Killers, which it's almost incredible these are only 1 year apart.
Yeah, dude.
And he was approaching like Jeff Tate territory almost on Killers. So, I mean, if he had another album with Maiden, like in 82, I mean, I think he would have been a star.
Right.
He would have been, a top tier metal vocalist.
That would have been, we don't know what kind of Iron Maiden we would have had.
No, but it bums me out that Paul, from what I've heard, he's also not a real great guy. So I can't say probably too many good things about him as a human. But I mean, as a singer, I think he didn't quite, he could have. I'm not really sure what his mindset was. He left Maiden, they weren't as big as they are now, but they were probably still, I think they were decently big. They were signed, I think, already to a major label.
Probably,
he probably could have done more with his. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe he was just like, fuck this shit. I'm not going to do any music for a while. But he probably should have been able to put something together that was bigger than what he did. But
I don't know. I see people when they leave, they do their own thing. Like Udo from Accept.
Yeah.
I mean, he did his own thing, and he just didn't give a fuck anymore.
No, I know. And some of those albums are as good as any Accept albums.
Yeah, they're again, I call them chunky. They're heavy. They're
great.
They're great. Yeah, he did an outstanding job.
So I think it was all on Paul. It is the effort he put into it is what came out of it.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say he was dealt a bad hand. I think it was all, he didn't probably put in the effort to make something great right away. Maybe he didn't believe in himself. I mean, he had the potential, but yeah. So Peter left off at No Prayer for the Dying. Yeah. That would have been my guess, but I would say start there, go work your way back up. And not like all of it, but you might be surprised at some of it.
That's interesting. Yeah.
So he says Dennis Stratton was outed because he liked George Benson and the Eagles. I think I heard that. I think I did hear that story. I think they just started to, and you could tell Dennis Stratton's playing. I think he was responsible for the more rockin' stuff on that first album. And that's my least favorite. I don't want to hear Maiden be a 70s rock band. So
that's so funny.
But yeah, so I do love the debut, but it just pales to Killers. It's almost not even fair to compare them. So that's my number 10.
Number 10.
Yeah.
My number 9 was The Book of Souls.
Cool.
2015. Another one where I was completely caught off guard because at that time I was turned off by The Final Frontier. So I was like, oh, great. What is this going to be? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, this is actually pretty damn good.
They had a great single. Yeah. And If Eternity Should Fail was the perfect single to like grab people's attention, I think.
Yeah. Honestly, I think what really did it for me was the long track, the Red and the Black.
Yeah.
And I was on board. Yeah. I was on board after that. I was like, cool, dude. I'll take it.
Totally. Yeah, and it was their first double disc album, which they haven't stopped still. I'm really curious to see what they do on their next album. Is it going to be another 2-disc album, or I'd be fine if it wasn't.
Yeah. So that's, I don't know. It's interesting, and I also did like the cover art for that. Pretty cool. Eddie,
do you own this album?
I do not.
Okay. Yeah. If you're gonna pick it up, you got to get this. If you can still get these, I'm sure you can. You got to get this book version.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's so cool. It's just full of cool Eddie, like Mayan style artwork. I guess. Yeah. I think that's what they were doing, right? Like a Mayan theme.
Yeah.
Like end of the world and stuff like that. Yeah, it's just full of cool cover.
Oh, there it is.
It's just full of cool artwork. Yeah, see if you can track this one down, I would totally recommend it.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm totally with you. This album is very cool. And not only did they have a good single in that first song, but they also had a great single in the second song, which I think it was like, if you think this one's too long, here's a treat for the old fans. The Speed of Light. That sounds like 1983 Maiden.
Yeah.
So they had the perfect balance where they're like, I bet some of our old fans won't like this long song, but they're gonna like this shorter one that's upbeat and catchy and fast. And
yeah.
Yeah, Peter. Yeah, you're right. Maiden. Their roots were in the '70s, so it's not unrealistic why they would have a little bit of those flavors lingering in their earlier stuff. Yeah. Born in '75. Yeah, I was born in '82. Oh, yeah, which was the same year as one of his favorite films, Deep Red. Deep Red. That was a Cronenberg movie, I think. Peter, or is that no? It's a Argento. Yeah, that's an Argento movie. Cronenberg. I don't know. I was thinking Dead Ringers. Yeah. Deep Red is I think it's an Argento movie. I think I have it, but I haven't watched it yet, which is stupid. I'm looking at my shelf. I can't remember I'll admit I'm fairly new to the Italian stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So am I.
I can't see it. I can't see my shelf. I might have it. So yeah, I'm a noob with the Italian stuff, but I'm working my way into it. Argento. Yeah. It's I love what I've seen so far, but it just took me a long time to get to it.
Yeah.
I actually have, what do I have on my shelf that I was going to watch last night and I forgot? I don't know, Peter, if you've seen this one. This is from '74, directed by Alberto De Martino, who I'm not familiar with, but it's The Antichrist. From what I've heard, it's basically a Italian Exorcist ripoff. Because a lot of those Italian directors, let's be honest, in the '70s, they basically just ripped off movies.
Yeah, sure.
But sometimes they made them really cool. So, I mean, even Zombie, the first Zombie, that was just Dawn of the Dead, But Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
But he put his own flavor on it, so it looks like I'm at number 9.
Yes, number 9.
So my number 9 is going to be A Matter of Life and Death from what did we say? 2009, I think.
2006.
6, yeah. I listened to this a lot when it came out, and I'll admit I didn't listen to it for a long time until recently, and I listened a couple of times, and I was like, oh shit, I really, really like this album. This is where they started to get really, the songs started to get long and drawn out, but they just make it work so much better here than they did on the last few albums.
It didn't feel like a chore to listen to it.
No. And like you said, it's a dark, brooding, it's a very somber album.
Right.
I mean, you're not going to find anything on here that's like Number of the Beast that, makes you want to, go for a jog or something. This is and if you read the lyrics, I mean, this is about war.
Yeah.
And this is a depressing, Bruce and Steve, they both love, their history, war and stuff like that. And this is about like early American, like the revolution and stuff like that. So it's a dark, bleak, somber album, but it's really heavy. It's fairly progressive, I'd say.
Yeah.
But it, it keeps your attention better than than as a whole, it keeps your attention better than the last anything that's came after it, I think.
I agree. No, absolutely.
Yeah. So I think if they're going to continue to make long albums, that's fine, but they need to rein it back to, like, if they could go back to the Matter of Life and Death format, just one disc, 70 minutes or whatever. I think people will be a lot happier.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. For sure.
So yeah, that's my number 9.
All right. Let's move on to number 8. I got Brave New World.
Hell yeah.
Brave New World.
I'm a fan.
comeback album. With
it's funny that you say that, because I call it a comeback album too, but it really wasn't. I mean, they only had 2-year gap, but it feels like a comeback album.
It felt like that. I only say that because of how commercial and duds the X Factor and Virtual 9 were.
And it's Bruce's comeback, so
yeah, exactly. So
I just thought it was funny because I call it a comeback album too.
Yeah. This one, I don't know. I mean, this one just had the again 10 songs, 66 minutes.
Yeah, perfect.
Talk about like the track listing, the way they put the songs on there.
Yep.
I mean, you had the triplet, but you can go beyond just the triplets. The Wicker Man, Ghost of the Navigator,
yeah,
Brave New World. You can keep going beyond that.
So how old were you in 2000?
Let's see. I was probably a sophomore.
Because I was, in 2000, I was 18. So I remember, I don't know if you remember, you probably do. The Wicker Man got a lot of radio play, and it was awesome. This is the first album. As a Maiden fan, this is my first new release.
Yeah, they were on MTV still.
Yeah, and I was so stoked for this. It was on the radio constantly. I was so happy around that time. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
I'll wait until my turn.
I was born in '83, so I mean,
you're only a year behind me. I'm 82.
Yeah, we're pretty much the same age. And okay, so you were probably a junior, senior when I was a sophomore, probably.
Yeah.
So, because I graduated in 2002. So
yeah. So I have I have a lot of good memories of that album.
Me too.
That year came out.
I don't know. I mean, like this whole album to me is just great.
It is.
I think highly of it, and it's a very fond, and I guess it just brings back memories of high school.
It does, yeah. And for 2000, it's perfect.
Oh yeah.
What could you ask for more in Iron Maiden in 2000? I mean,
no, dude.
Do you have any complaints about it?
No,
I don't either.
I mean, think about it. As soon as when Bruce came back, boom, that was it.
Yeah,
he came back. I mean,
and he came back, hit the ground running because he never stopped. He had his solo career. He didn't miss a beat.
Chemical Wedding, fucking outstanding.
Yeah. Amazing album.
Yeah. So he was already, I think, primed, ready for this to go.
Oh yeah.
And oddly enough, I think this is the same year Rob Halford released Resurrection.
I do remember that being around the same time.
Yeah.
And that was killer too.
Oh, amazing.
Like more painkiller-ish, more heavy, fast.
I wish he would release another Halford album.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. We're at 8. We're at number 8, right?
Yeah, that would be
my number 8.
Your number 8, yeah. So yeah, it's funny. That's my number 8 too.
Nice.
And it sucks because I really would like to rank this higher because it is such a good album. It's perfect. I have no complaints about it. They could not have put out a better album in 2000 if they tried. Nothing could have been better about this album. The timing was great. Yes. They just gotten Bruce back. They sounded so rejuvenated.
Yeah.
I mean, this is better. This is their best album. Okay. Spoiler alert. I'm a big fan of Fear of the Dark, but it's probably better than that. This is probably their best album since the late 80s, not many heavy metal bands were on top of their game in 2000.
Right.
Or not many heavy metal bands were on top of their game between 1988 and ever again, really. I mean,
yeah,
it just stomps over anything that, Priest were doing at the time. Queensryche. Well, yeah, Queensryche have sucked for years.
Yeah.
Those are bands that I love. I mean, who else was putting out a better album in 2000? Traditional heavy metal.
I couldn't say. I mean, if you look at even Anthrax really sucked in the 90s, but
I am a big fan of Sound of White Noise.
Yeah, I know that was just.
But other than that, you're right.
There's some people who are really into Stomp 442, whatever it's called.
Yeah. I liked that when I was a teenager. I liked that, but I don't know. I don't think I can do it now. What do you think?
Yeah. I go back every once in a while.
It's heavy, and it's a heavy album.
I'll listen to some songs. Yeah. I'll go back.
And I love John Bush. I'm a John Bush guy.
Oh, dude. Fuck. Armored Saint, dude.
Yeah, I love Armored Saint.
Rules, man.
So yeah, in 2000, I mean, there were some smaller, newer heavy metal bands that were pretty good, like Twisted Tower Dire and
those guys rule, dude.
Yeah, Steel Prophet. But I mean, we're talking Maiden's level, and no one was doing anything worthwhile around that. I don't think.
Like legacy bands. We're talking.
Yeah, legacy bands. No one was doing as good as Maiden in 2000. They were just on top of the world as far as heavy metal. Peter, Brave New World came out in 2000. Sorry, he probably already caught on to that. But
yeah. Fear
of the Dark sounded so bad. Yeah, I won't argue with you on that. Not at all. But yeah, I love Brave New World just for so many reasons. It's, again, it's a perfect album for not only for the time, but it holds up to this day.
Yeah, that's interesting too. It still holds up, man. It's great. It's just got it all, man.
Yeah, you can listen to it now. I think it sounds just as good, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, The Wicker Man is such a cool song.
Yeah.
And have you heard the edited version, the one where it's not much different, but it's the original version where the chorus is slightly different? A lot of people think it's superior. I don't know if you've heard that.
I don't think so.
Yeah, look into that later. Type in Wicker Man original version or edited version or whatever, and you'll notice. The chorus, they just trimmed off part of the chorus.
Okay.
I personally don't give a shit, but I have a buddy who's like, dude, it's so much better. All right, man. It's worth checking out, though.
Yeah.
So don't forget to bring some love to Blaze. Also, Maiden singer. Yeah, man. I don't know, Mike, if you just started watching, but we did talk about the Blaze era. Sometimes when I talk about the Blaze era, I focus more on the negative. But I will say, even if you don't like those Blaze era Maiden albums, check out Blaze's solo catalog. It's actually really fucking good. Yeah. It's amazing. You can compare that to like Udo's solo stuff.
So his band was it Wolfsbane?
Wolfsbane was his band from the 80s, which was pretty cool. It's like hard rocking, new wave of British heavy metal stuff.
Right.
You know, it's decent. Not really my cup of tea, but I know Peter hates Wolfsbane, but if you like your bar room rock / heavy metal, it's pretty good for what it is.
I know his newest Blaze's album, I think the newest one was a little different, right?
I haven't heard the newest one.
I thought it was like more acoustic.
Okay.
I think.
I haven't heard his last few, I don't think, but the stuff that I've heard, I'm like, this is great. I mean, these are really good albums. So I'd say for people that are into Maiden and maybe don't like the Blaze era, check those out, because those are actually better than the albums he did in Maiden.
Sure.
And that's with Steve Harris writing the songs. So that's saying a lot, you know?
Yeah.
So what are you at, number 7?
7.
Now we're getting into the prime shit, right?
Yeah. So my number 7 is Killers. Again, we're talking about Paul's vocals, and I mean, Murders in the Rue Morgue.
Oh man, yeah, this album's so good.
Purgatory. Killers.
Killers is probably my favorite.
Yeah, I think
as notes he's hitting those like Jeff Tate notes at the beginning.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
Where is this coming from? You know? Did he not know he could do that in the first album? I don't think he did.
Yeah, I don't know if he really pushed himself. You know what I mean?
He did, and that's what I'm saying. If he had a time to push himself in 83, 84, I mean, he would have been on top of the world, I think. People box Paul in like, oh, he's just this barroom kind of punky singer. No, he is that. He's a straight tough singer, but he's also like, he had this, he could have been another Jeff Tate, maybe not quite Jeff Tate, but
sure,
he could have been up there.
But this one I think is another great album.
So good.
Innocent Exile. Actually, oddly enough, there was a local band here who made a couple albums called Innocent Exile. So
yeah. Oh yeah, man. Cool. Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's again, if anyone wasn't watching in the first couple minutes, since he brought up Killers, I'll say this again: the Killers Murder One album, definitely get this because it's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna see what year is that from, because I think it's from the late 80s. It might be early 90s. I'm just gonna pull that up real quick.
Sure,
because I don't hear a lot of people talk about it, but I think it's just because people don't know about it. So I have some other Paul Di'Anno stuff. What do I have? I couldn't find any of it though. So I have that Di'Anno album that is from, which he's got a bunch of projects that he's done. This is from 92.
Okay, and it's just called Killers, right?
Yeah, the band's Killers and the album's Murder One. And like I said, he would go on to do more like Pantera-ish albums. I don't care for him personally.
Was it Menace to Society?
Yeah. And that you just by the title, you know what you're getting. And he also had a band called Battle Zone, also good though. Again though, early stuff is good, and then he would go down the Pantera route again in the 90s. But
I see that
Paul
Diano's Battle Zone, Paul Diano's Killers, and
His
Killers.
first two Battle Zone albums are really good.
And then just Paul Diano.
Yeah. So definitely look into those.
All right.
Yeah, Peter. So Mike, you were talking about, let's see, Dimebag playing some solos on Anthrax Stomp 442. Yeah, he did. At least one of the songs. And I'm not a big Pantera guy. Dave, you might be because you're from Texas.
Love Pantera. Absolutely.
Yeah, but I will say, though, I'm not going to shit on them like some people do. I do like some of it. But I just was never the biggest fan. But I'm not going to be one of those like, oh, I'm better than you because you like Pantera, guys. Because fuck that. Peter, I'm with you on the black metal stuff.
Same.
For years and years, I only listened to black and death metal, and I wouldn't take that back for anything. But I probably missed out on some shit. And a lot of people may like Wolfsbane. Yeah, I hear you. I think they're okay, but it's not my cup of tea.
Yeah, sure.
Peter, you just mentioned, or we just talked about Battle Zone. I totally recommend those first two albums, but Gog Magog, I don't know anything about.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
I think that's a Paul band. Let me see. I have his page pulled up here.
Okay.
So oh shit. This looks like something he did after he left Maiden in 85, only one EP, but I bet it's worth listening to. Oh shit, Clive Burr on drums and Yannick Gers on guitar.
What the hell?
And Neil Murray on bass, who was he was in Sabbath for I think.
Holy shit!
He was in Sabbath for almost a decade. Damn, I need to hear that. I mean, just that lineup alone. The cover art looks pretty cool.
Kind of crazy. That's what...
The name. I'm not sure what that means, but the cover art looks cool. You know, and the lineup. Holy shit! Yeah. I really like Yannick Gers as a guitarist. I don't understand the people that trash on him.
Yeah, I don't either. Yeah.
And people do. So where am I at? Number 7?
We are 7. You're on 7.
So my 7. This is going to surprise you, but obviously you knew it was coming because I haven't named it yet. But I'm going to go Fear of the Dark. Yeah. I know for 90% of Maiden fans, it would not rank as high. But for me, I will say it's the first Maiden album that I bought and heard it in its entirety. So
I got you. Yeah.
I bought it when I was 16 or 17. And, I bought that at the same time. I think that I bought King Diamond, the Eye album, which is also my favorite King Diamond album. So, there's a lot to be said there about the times that I bought these albums.
So there's some sentimental value. We'll see.
Yep. And I'll full on admit that I try not to let that cloud my judgment, but we really can't entirely do that.
Right.
You can't take out your enjoyment of something and set it aside.
I absolutely agree. Yeah.
And you wouldn't be honest if you did,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that album's from 92. But I won't say that it's a perfect album because it's not. But man, Be Quick or Be Dead is one of my favorite Maiden songs ever. It's only 3.5 minutes, which is crazy. Fear of the Dark. It's a perfect bookended album.
Yeah.
Now I'll admit some of the middle, like Weekend Warriors, a stupid song.
It's still a cool song though.
Yeah, it's not terrible. Judas Be My Guide, I like.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else do I really like? I do like Afraid to Shoot Strangers. I know a lot of people are iffy on that one. And then, the most of the middle I'm a little iffy on, but it's a very well bookended album. I really like how Bruce is. He kind of started on No Prayer for the Dying, but in those early 90s, I'm not going to say he was a better singer, but I liked how he was approaching things a little differently. He was starting to sound a little more aggressive and, he added some cool dynamics to his vocals.
More, I want to say grizzled.
Yeah.
Totally. To his vocals. Yeah.
Yeah. Almost like he almost sounded like kind of like Bobby Blitz from Overkill. Like he was adding that like throaty and I love it, Yeah.
At the very end.
It's like he added to his repertoire of skills and, he continued to use all those things to this day. He just was adding to his range and his style.
Right.
But yeah, I'll admit, Fear of the Dark for me is a very nostalgia album, but hey, it's my number 7 and it's kind of where it's going to stay. So,
all right. I dig it. I'm going to do a little bit of a flip on this one.
Yeah, I did it once or twice.
So my 6 will be Seventh Son of a Seventh Son.
Gotcha.
Fucking solid album. Love the cover art. I did buy this on
Very
CD.
cool cover art.
Loved how it just kind of went all around. Really strange. Just kind of blew my mind in terms of like when I saw this. I wasn't too sure what I was looking at. You know what I mean? I just loved it. You know?
Yeah.
Another solid album, I think. Let me go down to the track listing.
I will say, out of all the old Maiden albums from the 80s era, this one was the biggest grower for me.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
This is what year is this?
88, I think.
88.
Yeah.
So I mean, Can I Play with Madness, The Evil That Men Do, Moonchild, The Clairvoyant is probably one of my favorites on there.
Clairvoyant's cool.
Yeah. I think there's just something, and the song Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, but I don't know.
It's
there's
great.
Just something about this one. To me, it's one of the not one of the first ones, but I guess it was probably one of the first ones that I bought. So there's a little bit of that sentimental value for me.
Totally. One. Yeah.
I think they were doing something different here too. Musically,
they were.
It didn't really sound like the usual Maiden.
Yeah, I agree.
And what a fucking year though. 88, and Justice for All came out, like it's just a bunch of other albums that year.
Yeah, Queensryche had Operation Mindcrime.
Yeah.
Maybe the best album from 88.
Yeah, it could be. What are we? 6? Yeah.
That was your number
6.
6, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I'll get to that, but that out of the 80s albums, that was the biggest grower for me, and I'll admit I don't know why, but I'll talk about that when I get there.
Okay.
My number 6 is Number of the Beast from 82.
Okay.
This is an album that 10 years ago I would have ranked very much higher. In fact, at one point this is either my number 1 or number 2. And maybe that's why, I don't know, I don't have as much nostalgia for this one as I do some of the others. I think it's a great album. I struggle to say anything bad about it.
Right. Yeah.
It's just I almost think, I don't want to insult anyone, but I almost think this album is maybe just a little overrated.
Okay.
Because for a lot of people, this is like their number 1. And that's fine. I'm not going to try to take away from people's personal opinions, but
sure.
For me, it hasn't aged as well as I would have liked it to. I mean, it does have some of their greatest songs. Like Hallowed Be Thy Name is, the top 5 Maiden song.
Eternal. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Number of the Beast is also, probably a top. So, you have 2 of their best songs. Oh, and then they got Run to the Hills. Yeah. So 3 of their best songs, definitely their most known songs are on here.
Yeah, for sure.
And, I'm looking at the track list. There's not a single song here that I don't like. But,
yeah.
I mean, a number 6 slot for Maiden's 17 albums is not bad. I just
absolutely not. That's
hasn't
good.
aged with me as well as I would have hoped. That 20 years ago, I would have thought this would be higher to this day, but it's just not. So yeah, Peter, you mentioned Yannick Gers is in a band called White Spirit. I've always meant to check them out, but I never have.
Yeah, I had bought these 2 compilation albums, Metal for Mothers.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, there's 2 different compilations. Well, I think there's more, but I had volumes 1 and 2.
Okay, who put that out?
Yeah, White Spirit was on there. I heard Praying Mantis.
Okay. So were those old comps like from the 80s or?
It was. Well, I think they might have been. I think it might have been Sanctuary Records, I believe.
Yeah, because it sounds familiar.
Yeah, and it was basically new wave of British heavy metal.
Oh, sweet.
Dark Star, Lady of Mars. Holy fuck, that was like one of my favorite songs of all time, man.
White Spirit songs?
No, that one was with Dark Star.
Oh, Dark Star. Okay.
But White Spirit, I believe, was on there.
Okay.
On that compilation. Yeah, man. If you look for those,
I'm going to.
They should be fairly cheap if you look on Discogs.com, or was it? I forgot the name of the website.
I'm gonna look for those. Yeah,
they should be fairly cheap, man.
Because you're not gonna find that early Nawabum stuff. You're not gonna find it You're not gonna find it. So yeah, you gotta.
You're not gonna find it cheap. Let's just
no. If anyone, you gotta get what you can take. What you can get with that. With
sure.
But
the middle for mothers, and it's not mothers, it's mothers.
Mothers, yeah.
So that's why I thought it was. I was like, what the fuck is this? You know, you have like a metallic looking horse.
Yeah,
and
it totally rings a bell. I remember them. I just don't think I ever paid attention. Yeah. Does anyone remember Bruce being in a band called Samson? He was called
Absolutely.
Bruce. Yeah.
I'm
not a big Samson fan, but I also haven't spent a lot of time with him.
Yeah, I guess same.
Yeah. Mike's Somewhere in Time. Is that your favorite, Mike? That's definitely a fan favorite.
Oh yeah.
And obviously it's ranking high with me because I haven't even talked about it yet.
Damn.
Seventh Son was the album that got Peter in the metal. Yeah, hell yeah, man. Yeah, let's see what else we got. Used to go around to this guy's house around 88 and he kept playing Seventh Son. After a few listens, I was like, can I borrow that? And copied it on a tape. Yeah, I remember those days too. I'm just old enough to be in the days where I was still dubbing tapes constantly.
Same, dude.
Yeah. Saw Maiden, Black Death saw Maiden on the Number of the Beast tour, open for Priest. Holy shit.
That's fucking awesome.
God damn. Can you imagine that? 82 Priest and Maiden touring together?
Dude.
I don't think I'd be able to handle that intensity, you know?
No shit.
Holy shit. So yeah, so my number... Wait,
you're on 6. I'm on 5.
You're number 5. Yeah.
Yeah, so my 5 is Peace of Mind.
Yeah.
And 83.
83.
Iconic cover.
Oh yeah.
I kind of want to say that this is pretty much a flawless album.
It is. It is.
in my opinion, of course.
I'd say so too.
And you have killer tracks, Die With Your Boots On, Flight of Icarus. Man, Flight of Icarus is my favorite song.
Dude,
I was in heaven when they played it.
Yeah.
Revelations, Where Eagles Dare. Dude, of course, classic, The Trooper.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong. Arguably, I'm not too sure if this is true or not, if Michael from Opeth named the Still Life.
I've wondered that myself. Yeah,
from this song.
I bet you there's a good chance of it because he did that with albums all the time. Yeah, his albums, a lot of those Opeth albums are like named after old prog bands and stuff like that. So maybe, there's a good chance of it.
Possible, sure.
Yeah.
To Tame a Land. So this album, to me, if I had to give it a grade, probably a 9 out of 10.
Totally. Yeah,
if I had to give it a grade.
Yeah. Easy 9 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that was your number 5. So my number 5 is Somewhere in Time, which this one and Peace of Mind could flip flop any day of the week.
Sure.
Really.
I think so. Yeah.
They're kind of companion pieces to each other. Even though they're different as far as themes go, they're very different. But sound wise, they're kind of almost like a double album. In a good way though.
Sure.
And this is another album that at times this has been my number 1. Most of these 80s albums at one point have been my number 1, but for some odd reason, and I'm not sure why, this is my number 5 right now. But I can't say enough good about it. I'm a big fan of Blade Runner, so I love the cover art.
Yeah, dude.
I love how they were going for the Blade Runner look.
Tons of Easter eggs in there.
Tons, yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
And in fact, if you get, it might be somewhere inside the booklet where you got Eddie. So on the front, you have him, looking the way he does. But I like how he looks on the inside where he's wearing the trench coat and the.
Oh, yeah, dude. He looks
the
fucking cool, man.
Yeah.
He's got the duster or whatever.
Yeah, the duster and the cool hat.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Another 9 or maybe even 10 out of 10 album. Alexander the Great is the big epic because, Maiden always, I guess they still do it kind of. They maybe now they're trying to do too many epics, but back then they would always have like one centerpiece. Usually it was the last song and it would be, the long song. So Alexander the Great,
the long song off that album. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I would always call that the centerpiece of the album. It was like the build up and you get the big epic album or epic song to finish it off.
Right.
Which is a perfect formula for me. But Stranger in a Strange Land is a great song.
Great.
I like the loneliness of the Long Distance Runner. Maybe not so much the title.
It's to me,
but it's a cool ass song.
This is my favorite song from that album.
Yeah. That's a deep cut that it deserves more talk. I don't think many people talk about it.
Dude, I absolutely agree with you. I always say that.
And it might be because of the theme. It's not a cool theme, but
it's
they were trying to do something different. Who else is writing songs about long distance runners?
No
I know the British guys like their soccer. Maybe they like running sports too. I don't know.
I mean, they're part owners of a soccer team, no?
Yeah. Yeah, those guys love soccer, so I guess maybe other sports that involve running. I'm maybe not the biggest Wasted Years fan, but I also don't hate it.
I love Wasted Years. It's a good sing-along. It's a good sing-along.
It is.
Oh, yeah. Dude, Sea of Madness, get out of here.
Sea of Madness, Heaven Can Wait. Yes. I think my favorite would probably be the Alexander the Great,
yeah, for sure,
the epic song. But yeah, man, 86. I mean, this was if you were to pick 5 albums from 86, this is going to be in there. Top albums. It's up there with Rain and Blood and Master of Puppets and Queensryche, their 86 album. One of my favorite bands. I always forget the names of the albums. But that's my number 5. I really can't say any more about it that hasn't already been said, right?
Right. So we'll go into number 4.
And Mike, Power Slave number 2. Oh, yeah, man. We'll see.
Yeah.
He couldn't. Peter never got into Somewhere in Time. Hey, everyone's different.
Interesting.
I can't. And Peter's British and he hates soccer. I'm not a fan. I don't give a shit about soccer, dude. If you force me to watch a soccer game, I'd probably just rather take a nap or something. But.
Yeah. I'm trying to get into soccer, especially since we did the World Cup.
And I have a buddy who's a massive soccer fan. That's he literally schedules his vacations around the World Cup just to sit at home and watch them.
One of my good friends is insanely into it.
Yeah.
And what we decided to do is we did 6 teams and then he talked about the soccer portion of it.
Yeah.
And I selected 3 metal bands from each of those countries.
Oh, cool. That's a good idea.
We did Tunisia. We did like a bunch of weird countries that you wouldn't have thought.
Oh, yeah.
And then obviously, Australia, there's a lot of big metal bands and stuff. But we had a lot of fun with that episode. We covered, and I want to kind of do like the whole tournament style. And let's see which bands we can find versus each other based off
idea.
Who's won. And let's see who wins at the very end, which band is like the best. So
that's a good idea. I would have never ever thought of that. So
just something to keep in there.
Yeah, make it more fun, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's just for me. It's just one of those things. I'm not a big fan either. So
maybe someday you will be.
Yeah. So number 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my number 4 is Number of the Beast. Yeah. Good solid album again. I feel the same way. I agree with everything that you were saying. I will say though, with a lot of the songs that Bruce has sang, and I kind of obviously not be able to keep up, but Run to the Hills, man, is not that easy to sing either, dude. Even though it's kind of like their Enter Sandman, it's not a very easy song.
No, I can't imagine it at all. There's tons of vocal variations in there and lots of long-winded stuff and high notes. And...
Yeah, exactly. So I remember I was thinking, what am I going to do? Karaoke. And
try to sing that.
No.
Oh, okay.
I think we went with Dr. Doctor from UFO.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Which is if anyone doesn't know this, that's a massive favorite of the Iron Maiden guys.
Yep.
UFO.
They actually start the show with that song.
Yep. They always play Dr. Doctor before they come out. They've been doing it, I think, since the 80s. Awesome. Yeah. It's a cool song.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. So that's my 4.
All right. Number 4. So my number 4 will be Peace of Mind. Another album that at some point it's been my number 1 because almost all of these have.
They're like interjectable, kind of.
They really are. Yeah. But I had to put it nowadays. What I did was I try to balance the way I feel about albums in the past. I try to balance it with how I feel about them now and kind of come to a middle ground. So I liked this album a lot more, but obviously I still like it a lot if it's my number 4. Sure. But yeah, we've already talked about it. It's an easily 9 out of 10 album, and maybe even a 10. I like the deep cuts. I mean, everyone likes the Trooper, and I still like it. I think that song to this day holds up, or as a song. I've never heard anyone play it and been like, "Oh, dude, can you just skip it?" I've heard it so many times. I don't care. I still love it.
You're a fucking poser, dude, for playing that.
Like you said, Flight of Icarus is I think one of their best songs.
Yeah, overall, yeah,
it's amazing. Where Eagles Dare is one of their best songs. Revelations. I'm kind of 50-50 on that. Like, it's a great song. There's parts of it I don't like, but then there's parts of it I think are amazing.
I think it depends on the mood also, right?
Yeah. I guess it's a little different for them. It's very metal, but it's still a little different. I don't know how to describe it. But
have you heard Sentenced cover the Trooper?
No, I mean, I've heard Sentence, but now I haven't heard the Trooper cover. No.
Yeah, man, that was when
I'd be down.
Mid 90s.
Okay.
Mid early 90s, and it's fucking heavy, super fast.
I'll check that out.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, it's a fun one.
I like hearing bands cover Maiden. In fact, I have it over there somewhere, but I have an Iron Maiden cover album. Do you remember Dwell Records? Does that ring a bell to you?
No.
Someone in the chat will. Someone's going to remember that. It's Dwell Records in the 90s and even into the 2000s. It was a label that they literally, I think they only put out compilations of covers.
Okay.
But it would be like extreme metal bands covering, say, Iron Maiden, or I have one that's Celtic Frost. They did Slayer ones, and there'd be bands like Angel Corpse and all kinds of shit covering, these classic bands. And I have one from Maiden, and it's pretty fun. It's got some cool covers on there. But anyways, so Peace of Mind. Yeah, I really like the deep. Nowadays, I like the deep cuts, like the last 3 songs,
right?
Like Quest for Fire. I know a lot of people don't like Quest for Fire, but I don't get that.
Yeah,
I think it's cool. Sun and Steel and To Tame a Land. Again, To Tame a Land, is their epic. It's not their longest epic, but it's the epic song of the album, and I love it. I love how those last 3 songs are like songs about like early man, discovering things. Quest for Fire, obviously, when man discovered fire, and those last 3 songs are my favorites probably. Well, that's hard to say because Flight of Icarus is so goddamn good.
It's so good. Yeah.
So yeah, that's a Peace of Mind, my number 4.
Right on. All right. Number 3, Somewhere in Time. So for me, Somewhere in Time was another one of those albums where I just instantly fell in love with that album. You have songs like we're talking about, Sea of Madness.
Yeah. Cool. It's a very cool song.
Wasted Years. I know that's more of their radio friendly, I would say.
But it's still good.
It's so good, dude. It's catchy, and it just kind of makes me happy when I listen to it.
I agree. Yeah.
Heaven Can Wait, even though again that one is a little lengthy. Kind of for whatever reason, it was actually big on the radio, I believe.
Interesting.
The Loneliness of a Long Distance Runner. We were just talking about that, and it's fucking just massive, and just
it's an epic song.
The harmonies, and just so fucking good, man.
It is. Yeah, underrated Maiden song right there, I think.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm serious. That one's like one of the most underrated.
Yeah.
Stranger in a Strange Land. I don't know. This is another top tier album for me. Again, I could probably rate this one 9 out of 10.
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily. Yeah. So it looks like I'm the only one that hasn't heard the Sentenced cover. It looks like everyone else has heard it. So I need to get on that. So that was your number 4, right? Number 3.
My number 3. Yeah.
Yeah. So my number 3 is going to be Killers from 81.
Nice.
This album was a huge grower for me. I'll admit I wasn't always fair to the Di'Anno stuff. I always liked Killers, but for some reason I think I had a mental block to where I only really wanted to hear Bruce.
Yeah.
So I never gave this album its fair shot. But I mean, I like it so much now that I mean, this almost could be my number one. Like, I like it so much.
Right.
Like, and I've like I've been saying through this whole thing, just the growth of the band is in that 1 year is incredible.
Yeah.
Everybody, I mean, especially Paul. I mean, he sounds good on the debut, but I mean, he just sounds 20 times better on Killers, and it was only a year later. I think he was just discovering, his abilities, and like I said, it probably got cut short. Him leaving Maiden. I don't think he exactly hit the ground running like he probably should have, but and my favorite song in here would be the title track, Killers. It's so fucking good. Yeah. But I mean, every song here is great. This is I'd say this is probably a 10 out of 10 album for me.
Okay.
They've always played Wrathchild live.
Oh yeah, they do.
God, the Ides of March is there's two instrumentals here. One. Genghis Khan.
Right.
Another Life is cool. So, and there's still some kind of rockin' songs here that carried over from the first album that I'm not the biggest fan of, I would say. I think, was it Another Life? Is that the one that's kind of rocking? I can't remember for sure.
Yeah. I honestly, I don't remember.
Yeah. So maybe some of that stuff, maybe I couldn't give this a perfect 10 because there's a couple songs where I'm like, this isn't quite the direction I want them to go in, but they're still good for what they are. I'd give this a 9.5 out of 10 if I'm going to be really, really critical. But I like this album more now than I ever have. I know it's a lot of Maiden fans. This is like, their top 3, but it's my number 3. But yeah, I like it more now.
The cover is iconic too, man.
Oh yeah, it is.
The cover art, yeah,
so iconic.
For real, yeah.
Yeah, let's see here. So we got some more comments. Sentence were a great death metal band. I struggle with Sentence, like mid-90s stuff. But,
I love both eras of Sentenced. When they actually have a full episode on that, if you guys want to check that out. We covered.
Oh yeah, I remember you did that. I haven't. I need to check that out.
So what I really love about is that all Maiden material is ear friendly.
It is true. It's very true. It's very true.
Yeah. So Sentenced, they got more of this goth, heavy rock. As they progressed. Cold White Light is still my favorite album of all time from theirs.
I mean, considering I gave a shot to Catatonia, I should be able to do the same with Sentenced. So
they're a little different, but sort of the same lyrically,
and similar progression. They both came from extreme bands, and they changed into more melodic and
sure.
Similar like career trajectories, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree. And that's one band that ended too early, I think.
Yeah, you're probably right. Let's see. Day of the Dead. Whose poster? I'm assuming you're talking about Dave's because I don't have any visible posters.
It's the Day of the Dead. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I have.
Peter's a big horror guy, so
I have Evil Dead. Well, let me see if I could move my camera real quick.
Yeah, I just moved, so I have a lot of posters that I haven't hung up yet, but I have a lot of horror.
Evil Dead, Dawn of the Dead.
Hell yeah. I need an Evil Dead poster.
Yeah.
But yeah, so where are you at? Your number
two.
Oh shit.
So number 2. Their debut album, Iron Maiden. Cool. This one to me is, again, I think my sentimental album. One of the first albums I actually bought from them, and it's got all the tunes for me, man.
I wish I'd have gotten this earlier than I did, but it's okay.
Yeah. There's just something to me about Running Free, because that one's more of like heavy rock, you know what I mean?
Totally, yeah.
But Remember Tomorrow, Phantom of the Opera, Transylvania.
Yeah.
Those all have this completely different vibe to them.
Yes.
So when I heard, Charlotte the Harlot, I don't know why I couldn't stop laughing, but it's just so fucking good too. And it's just, I think this is an album that I think just puts me in a good place and makes me happy.
It's an upbeat, a very upbeat album.
It's very upbeat.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's just something about that I was just like, this is one of my favorites of all time. To me, nearly a 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10 for me.
I think that's an album that for me it's still growing. Like I think in a couple years I'll have. I mean, I like it now, but I think in a couple years I think I'll like it more because I've been listening to it more than I ever have before. Yeah. So yeah,
that one I still revisit very often too.
It's really cool to hear these guys in this, like, I don't want to say their infancy. They'd already been around for shit. I think they'd already been a band for 5 years.
Sure, yeah.
But it's cool hearing them in this early stage and, hearing them at like their most primal sounding.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But they were already super good,
Yeah.
So they were already, they weren't on top of their game yet, but they were already like excellent musicians and excellent songwriters.
I think this also brings another point of during this early to late, the whole decade of the 70s.
Yeah.
You couldn't polish a turd. You had to fucking be good, man.
It's true.
So you had to, yes, definitely fucking punk vibe right there.
Yeah. I like that vibe too.
Sure. But as I was saying, like, like for sure, dude, like you had great singers during the 70s.
True.
Styx, Journey, Blue Oyster Cult, Kansas, my lord, Kansas. Fucking
one of the best singers ever.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. Boston. I mean, you couldn't hide that. You had to have that.
It's true.
And musicians were I think they were just better. I don't know what it was.
No, I agree. They pushed each other harder, I think.
Oh, absolutely. The songwriting was fucking incredible, man.
Yeah.
That's something I think that needs to persevere, I think.
Totally.
That has to last up until now, but it's so much easier there's a lot of one-man projects or
true.
So yeah.
I remember reading an interview where they were talking about how, I guess, so the record label around this time, either Iron Maiden or Killers, somewhere around there, they wanted them to be, they're like, all right, we think you guys should just go full on punk.
Yeah.
And Steve Harris was like, fuck that. I think some of them were into it, and maybe Steve was a little bit, but he was like not real into punk, and he's like, no, we'll never be a punk band.
Right.
But the record label is suggesting it. They're like, we think this punk thing is going to be big, and we think you guys should be one of the bands to go in that direction. And Steve was like, nope, not going to do it.
Yeah. Fuck. So glad they didn't.
Peter's asking if you're a slasher fan.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, fuck yeah, dude. I love all horror films, man. So
yeah, I like slasher movies too.
A lot of B films. And actually, I don't know who it was. It might have been you, Eli. There was a movie where this guy just had like hands of grease or something.
Wait, what?
He like murders people with his hands made out of grease.
Was it the Greasy Strangler or something?
I don't know. I've heard that.
I haven't seen that. I've only heard of it.
I don't think that's what it's called.
Is it an 80s movie or newer?
Yeah?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It might have been early 90s.
I don't think I know about this one.
I just remember somebody breaks into like an RV or an apartment.
Okay.
And he just like strangles them with these like hands, like. Oh, dude, I
don't think this rings a bell at all, but I haven't seen everything, so
yeah,
I will. I'm curious though.
I'll have to look for it again. So
it already sounds like the most insane movie ever,
right?
Yeah, there's just something about a good slasher movie that just, and maybe this is a fucked up thing to say, but it just makes me happy.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I don't know how that works psychologically, but there's just something about it that just, there's nothing better than
get your thrill off of that. You know what I mean? There's just something.
Yeah. So yeah, one record label was like, Maiden, if they cut their hair, they would have a record deal, and they were like, nope. So that's that's one area where I also will say that I've always respected Maiden, is because they did not succumb to trends
on their terms. You know, it was.
And you could say, you know, I know a lot of people that are massive Judas Priest fans, and I'm a fairly big Judas Priest fan, but they numerous times in their career did they try to chase a trend, and it usually didn't work.
Like Turbo.
Yeah, I mean, they did it at, well, my favorite album is Painkiller, but that was them chasing a trend. In my opinion, it worked, but still they were, you know, and I get it because, I mean, Metallica basically based their career off of that, but sold millions of albums in the process. But Maiden never seemed to be interested in that, you know?
Right.
They stood their ground, kind of like, you know, like Cannibal Corpse, you know, bands like that, where they're just like, we're just going to play this one. This is what we want to do. We're not going to make other genre albums, you know?
Right.
So that's where I've always respected Maiden for never, even with, you know, I'm sure, you know, like we've already mentioned, they've had numerous opportunities where the record label was pressuring them to do things, and they're like, fuck off, you know?
Right.
Fine. Don't sign us then. We'll go somewhere else, you know? Black Ash versus Evil Dead is an amazing show.
Dude, I still haven't seen it. I need to get on that.
You will not be disappointed. If you are, let me know. But I mean, I don't get it, man. I don't get how you could be disappointed.
Yeah, no.
I'm such a breath of fresh air that show was.
If I had not gone out to Denver this past week, I would have started already. So
you got time. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah, probably started tonight.
It's so fun. All I could say is only good things. It's you know, Bruce Campbell does not half-ass things, right. Especially a character like Ash. I mean, I will say, like, okay, he never wanted to do the show. He had already been retired. He was like, I'm too fucking old, guys. I can't do these physical roles. I love Ash, but I can't do this anymore. And so, I don't know, you know, he got enough fans that were like, please, please, please. So, you know, he did the show, and he's like, all right, but this is it. I'm not coming back as Ash. I'll give you guys this, but I can't do it anymore. You know, I'm too old for this.
Yeah.
But I mean, he gives it his all. He is exactly the Ash. Like, didn't skip a beat. You know, there's no, you know, even with all the years in between, it's still like he hit the ground running. He's like, I think Ash just is who he is. You know,
right?
So I don't think you'll be disappointed.
Hell yeah,
yeah. So, where am I at? Number 2.
Yep.
We're gonna go with this. Like I said earlier, this was the biggest grower for me. 1988, Seventh Son of the Seventh Son.
Nice.
I'll be honest. I didn't really. I don't know what it was, but this album never did anything for me before. But I think I was not listening to it right, but now, I mean, I've listened to it the last couple months, and this album is blowing my mind lately.
Yeah.
I think Moonchild is one of the best songs, one of their best songs ever. I can just listen to this on repeat. I will admit I'm not a big fan of Can I Play with Madness.
Yeah.
It's a little too melodic for me. It's not bad, but it's a little too melodic for me. The Evil That Men Do is decent, but also not my favorite. But everything else, you know, minus those 2 songs, is just 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people, this is an iffy album for a lot of fans. I know Maiden fans seem to either, I wouldn't say they love it or hate it. They either love it or they don't care too much for it.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of keyboards.
The keyboards I heard is a common complaint, but I'm a big fan of keyboards. So for me, it's fine.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say like, oh, this is their prog metal album. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
They're not prog keyboards. They're more like Conan the Barbarian, like epic keyboards, and they're simple keyboards. Yeah. It doesn't, for me, add a prog element at all. It just adds to the epic atmosphere.
Yeah, sure. I agree.
Yeah. So I don't get the prog metal thing. Other than, you know, they've always had prog influences since day one. Steve is a massive prog fan. They actually covered as a B-side to one of their earlier singles. They cover a Nectar song.
Holy shit.
I don't know if you know who Nectar are, but they're like a cult German prog metal, prog rock band from the 70s. Yeah. So they were already covering Nectar in their early days. So
how crazy is that?
Steve loves prog, so that's always been in their songwriting. Sometimes maybe
their DNA, I guess, huh?
Yeah, sometimes maybe more than others, but this album, I like it so much now. I almost want it to be my number 1, but it can't. It cannot top my number 1, and we'll get there in a minute.
Yeah.
Mike says, don't forget to bring Accept, because I know you're a big Accept fan, right, Dave?
I love Accept with Tornillo, Mark Tornillo, their newest singer, I guess.
They had a hell of a comeback. Yeah. I'll admit, with Mark. Yeah. Like a lot of bands have not been able to do that, and they did it perfectly.
Yeah. Again, I was mentioning, like, I felt like he rejuvenated their sound. I felt
totally. Yeah, absolutely, he did.
Yeah,
but also they did themselves too, because they wanted to go back to their early sounds. I guess what they did is they just got in the studio with their producer and they listened to the early albums and to remember the stuff that, rejuvenated them, or remember the stuff that what people really liked about them. And they wanted to go back to that, and they did, So.
Yeah. Riff heavy, dude. So they went riffy.
Yeah.
So should we go into our
number one, right? Yeah.
So, drum roll.
Well, it's if anyone's paid attention, it's obvious that we have the same number one. So
yeah, I think so.
Go for it.
I mean, Power Slave, right?
Power Slave.
So, I mean, if anything, we can just both talk about it, right?
Yeah, might as well. Yeah, 10 out of 10.
Oh yeah,
and easily. I'm gonna say probably top 5 metal album ever.
Yes, I can't argue with that at all.
Yeah.
Flash of the Blade, dude, and the Duelists, just back to back right there.
This is another, I wouldn't say a grower for me, but I only actually recently decided that this is my number one. I don't know. I always liked it for some reason. I heard it in a different light recently, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why did I not have this opinion, like 20 years ago?
Yeah. I think for me, I heard it. I was on a road trip to Austin, and I was like, why didn't I ever pay more attention to this album?
Yeah. So, same here.
Yeah.
I always liked it, but I don't know. You hear things differently as you age. And
oh, no, absolutely. I think that's what it is too, man.
Ace is High. Oh my God. What a way to start an album.
But what's interesting is Ace is High and 2 Minutes to Midnight are not representative of the way this album sounds.
True. It gets much more epic.
Those two were like the oddballs.
Those are the we're gonna hook you in with these catchy songs. So they're heavy. Yeah. They're heavy and catchy. But yeah, this album is epic. This is like Conan the Barbarian epic.
Yeah. It oozes.
This is their epic metal album.
Yeah. Oh no. Easily. Yeah. I agree. Not to mention their cover art is so fucking good, man.
Oh yeah, man. Derek Riggs, man.
Derek Riggs.
God. I don't think there's any better cover art than all the early Iron Maiden albums.
Yeah.
You can't beat it.
So I'm looking here. I could see that on the 95 reissue for Power Slave, they did release that Nectar cover, King of Twilight.
Yeah.
On this album specifically.
Yeah, so. I can't remember if I have that version, but I do have it on a 7-inch single repress. Yeah. Oh man, Power Slave. Probably. What would you say your favorite song on here is? Probably Power Slave for me. The title track.
Okay, I think for me, Flash of the Blade.
Yeah, Flash of the Blade's awesome. Yeah, I really do like Rime of the Ancient Mariner too, though.
Yeah, dude, it's great, man. It's another great
one.
That's
their the end of the album epic 13-minute song. It's amazing. It's an amazing song. I'd say they never really did anything quite like that either.
No.
Like this long drawn out, it's very drawn out, but it's perfect.
And this album this is the only album that sounds like this too. That's what I was. They're very interesting,
I agree. It's really intense and it's super riff heavy.
Yeah.
And they're a riff heavy band, obviously, but this album is an extra riff heavy, but the riffs are so perfect.
Yeah.
Like every riff on this album is exactly what it needed to be. I mean, it's just, for me, this is like one of the most epic albums. This is probably where bands started their sound. I mean, this had to have been influence on Man-O-War. Although Man-O-War was doing shit like this right around the same time.
Yeah, they're already writing music, and
so I might be wrong about Man-O-War. Yeah.
But what's interesting is I had this thing about bands where 5 albums in, they kind of hit their peak. Mm-hmm. So, for example, I always say Opeth, 5 albums in, and that would have been Blackwater Park. I kind of feel like after that, the 2 albums are after that don't count. The acoustic and
true,
the death metal one, those 2 don't count as Opeth albums. I think because they were saying that this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna make an acoustic one and a heavy one.
Yeah.
So
true.
So I kind of feel like they hit their top at their 5th album. But I mean, for some people, they kept going. I don't know.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Totally.
But I think Metallica hit the 5 album mark and they just went down.
Like a roller coaster. Just free falling. That's my opinion too. I mean, come on.
But Iron Maiden certainly did not, because they still had a lot of gas in the tank, you know?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean, like I wouldn't, this might be my favorite album. I wouldn't say they peaked though.
Right.
Because they continue to put out amazing albums after this. So yeah, I wouldn't say that they peaked. This is just at this point in time, this is my favorite album.
Yeah.
And that's a newer thing. This hasn't always been that way for me.
Yeah.
For some reason I've just heard it with different ears.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Mike's asking if you like Mastodon, or maybe he's asking both of us.
I am not a Mastodon fan. I love Opeth, but not Mastodon.
I was into Mastodon from the start, but I did kind of fall off with them. I really still dig their first album, and I would say I think I like their first probably 4 albums quite a bit. I don't listen to them very much anymore, but every now and then I love going back to that first album. It's so heavy, and it's a weird progressive heavy like sludge album. I haven't really ever heard anything quite like it, but
what's their first album?
What's it called? It's got the horse on the cover.
Oh, that's their first album. Okay.
Remission. Yeah, Remission. It's called.
Okay.
I'd say if you've never heard it, check it out, dude. It's so heavy and so progressive, and it's awesome.
Okay, I'll check it out. I always have this thing where I watch Sam Dunn, his Banger TV or whatever.
Banger, yeah.
And
he loves that band. He loves that.
Yeah, dude. And I'm like, bro. He's like,
can you quit talking about Mastodon?
Because he's like, who's this Devin Townsend guy that everybody's talking about? I'm like, what the fuck?
Did he really say that?
Yeah, because I remember there was one episode where he was talking about that. And I'm not
Canadian.
Sure. I'm not sure. Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure if he meant it as sarcastically, but
okay.
I don't.
So that kind of turned you off of that guy, probably.
Yeah, because and I started watching it, and I was like, everything was so super Mastodon.
Gojira, he likes Gojira.
Yeah, those 2. It was those 2 that he always gravitated towards.
Yeah, I agree. I don't understand that either. Yeah. And he's like a 50-year-old dude. Not that there's anything wrong with that. You can like
no. I know. I just thought he would have be more refined. You know, that's all.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't. I think Sam's he's fine. He's a good guy. It seems like, and he's done some nice documentary work. But as far as like his personal taste, I don't understand either.
Sure. Again, documentaries outstanding. Global Metal, Headbanger's Journey.
Headbanger's Journey is a fun documentary.
That's great. I really yeah, that one I recommend to you guys if you have a girlfriend or a friend, someone, parents, who are not into metal, and kind of ease them into it.
I agree. Or if they're just curious, about the history, it's a nice little package to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, so, Peter likes early Opeth. Yeah, he's kind of with you on Mastodon. He's just not into it. All right. The first time I saw Maiden was in 1980 at the Music Hall in Scotland. Oh, shit. Scotland. That'd be cool. Support bands were Vardis and Praying Mantis.
Praying Mantis are still.
I don't think I've ever heard Vardis.
I have not heard Vardis either.
Praying Mantis. Are they? Is that the band that currently has the singer of Satan?
No, they have this Canadian guy.
Oh, okay.
He sang on some Arion.
Oh shit!
Yeah, he sang on some Arion songs.
I like Arion a lot, but I'm still kind of a noob. I'm still working my way into Arion.
Dude, They just released a I don't know about remastered, but completely redone the Universal Migrators albums. But yeah,
I really like that Migrator album. I think the part 2. I really like that.
Oh, with
part
Bruce
2.
I think there's Bruce.
I think is on part 1. I think.
Okay.
There's one that I like more than the other because it's like has a cool, like almost like a Pink Floyd sound to it.
Yeah, the first one's I think more proggy. The second one's heavier.
Okay, it might be the first one then that I like. Yeah.
Yeah, Praying Mantis, dude. The last 2 Praying Mantis albums have been fucking killer.
Yeah, I'm kind of a noob with Praying Mantis too. I've heard some of the early stuff and I think it's really cool. But I've heard their modern stuff is really good.
Yeah, dude.
That dog barking. Here, you can talk for a minute. I'll be right back. Sorry, I think it's
no worries.
Someone at the door.
Let's see. I was trying to see another band. How you guys get into Camel much? More 70s prog rock. I'm trying to find Praying Mantis really quick.
Why don't you hold on to Lou?
Catharsis. That's the last album that they did. Really good.
Sorry about that. Someone at the door.
It's all good. So the last album that I really enjoyed from Praying Mantis was Legacy 2015, and then the latest album, Catharsis with a K.
Cool.
Fucking great, man. So good.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind going back to their early stuff too, and just kind of work my way around.
Yeah. I actually mentioned to if anyone's a big fan of Camel. And
I like Camel.
Yeah, Camel rules, man. That one was introduced to me through just trying to be a fan of Opeth, and Michael talked about that's one of his favorite bands.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And I was like, well, shit, I gotta check this out then. And I heard the Moon Madness album, and
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's definitely I'm definitely a big 70s prog fan.
Yeah.
But I did get into some prog stuff through Opeth also, with like right. Michael talking about bands during interviews, and that's like his favorite shit is like 70s prog.
Yeah.
And Peter says Rush is great, but I know not everyone likes Geddy Lee's voice, and I totally can get that. But Rush are arguably my favorite band.
But
I get it. I know a lot of people
I got used to his vocals, and once I was able to do that, I enjoyed the music so much more.
Yeah.
So
yeah, totally. I mean, I like his vocals a little bit more refined. Like as he got into the early 80s, he kind of calmed down a little bit and wasn't just trying to sound, stop screaming all the time, and
right.
A little bit smoother. That's the Geddy Lee I like the most.
Yeah,
like
sure.
Early 80s. Yeah. Oh, Black Death said Eloy is a big band for him. Oh, German prog. Yeah.
Eloy rules, dude.
Yeah. Eloy are top shelf prog, I think, at least from the few I've heard. Did they do an album called 666 or something? German black metal. What band are we talking about there? I'm trying to. Who did an album called Six? Oh, that's Aphrodite's Child.
Oh, okay.
Who are that's probably in my top 5 albums of all time is 666 by Aphrodite's Child.
Okay.
Amazing album. It's a mind blowing double disc concept album. It's fantastic. Shit. Yeah. Are you familiar with Vangelis?
No.
He's a composer. He did the Blade Runner soundtrack, and
okay. Yeah.
I don't know if that's if what he's talking about, but either way, yeah, he played keyboards for Aphrodite's Child in that era, and he was a songwriter as well.
Yeah.
And then he would go on to do dozens of movie soundtracks.
He recently just passed, right?
Yeah. Greek musician. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Vangelis. I actually think it's Vangelis, but I always say Vangelis.
It sounds cool.
Oh, and Peter, I guess, so Peter might have been talking about Catharsis, the German black metal band Catharsis, who I do like also. I actually like, what are they? World Without Something. I think that album is just one of those like violent black metal albums ever. It's great. World Without Something. But so yeah, we got through it. 17 albums, not too bad in 2 hours. You know,
not too shabby.
We didn't drag it out for too long, and
no
blowing steam or anything.
No, and I think what was great about what you mentioned before, it was very nonchalant, but also not hating on any of the albums that we just didn't like. It was just an order of preference, you know.
The older I get, the more I'm just like, I'm just going to more focus on positive things instead of looking for things to bash on, which I know a lot of people are all about that. I'm okay with mentioning something that I don't like, but then I'd rather spend my time talking about the stuff I do like,
right?
Because most albums, from when I really like a band, if I don't like an album entirely that they put out, I'm always going to find something that I like on the album,
right?
Oh, I don't think there's a band that I like that have put out an album that I hate 100%.
Right. I think a lot of that has to do with we were at a time and age where sometimes we bought albums just based off the album cover, and very often we got duds, but very often we got fucking, we hit gold.
True.
And I feel like maybe that might be a factor with when somebody let's just call it a crappy album.
Mm-hmm.
We still sift through it and find something that we like anyways.
Yeah, because we just bought it, we paid money for it.
Sure, exactly.
We're not just going to shelve it and waste that money. We're going to give it its time.
Yeah,
we're going to listen to it over and over again. Unless we hate it, you're going to keep listening to it.
Sure.
And yeah, so Niall the Punk is asking, because he came into this a little late. X Factor, trashed or not? I had it at number. I don't trash X Factor because I actually do like it. I had it at number 14, though. I think Dave had it. Where did you have it?
16. So
a little lower. I do like X Factor, and I've been listening to it lately, or the last couple of years. I've been listening to it more and more.
I think we were talking more in terms of Blaze's vocals were just not quite there.
Yeah,
they might have how we were mentioning a little bit monotone.
Yeah, not the first 2 songs are great.
Sure.
Better with Bruce. Live.
Yeah, we've seen that. Yeah, for sure.
But I do like X Factor. I do like it. And Peter says check out. Mike says.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I love Niflheim. They're awesome.
Yeah.
Great Swedish black metal, old school black.
Yeah, that's
Swedish
definitely old school.
All right. Well, I think we maybe we'll take a break now because then we have another episode to do on your. If anyone else wants to join, I guess it won't be live, but right. We'll be doing an episode on that metal podcast. I don't know, when do you think you'll upload that? Tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can probably listen to it tonight.
Yeah, so for those who, if you do decide to listen, we're going to talk about songs that we wish we wrote. Might get a little deep and it might get, silly. But definitely that metal podcast is on pretty much most podcast platform out there. Yeah. Android, Apple, whatever your choice is.
Yeah. Even
Google Podcasts, it's all out there.
I'm going in a little bit of a different direction because I think the way I processed it for some odd reason is I took it as I'm going to be talking about songs that I connect to like on an emotional level.
Okay.
So most of it's not going to be metal. I'm still refining my list. I'll have it done by the time we're ready. But
yeah,
I only have one metal song on there. But needless to say, it's all the other songs are songs that mean a lot to me. So
yeah, it was funny too because I ended up reworking the list, but also separating the two.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. We might go in different directions, but that's fine. Yeah. It just adds variety.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe you guys could check that out later tonight, or at least just go subscribe on. I use Spotify personally, but you know,
yeah, Spotify's great. I'm on Apple Podcasts, like I said.
Yeah.
Even Pandora and Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts.
All the main platforms.
All the main ones. Instagram, you guys can find me on Instagram, That Metal Podcast. I think it's that_metal_ podcast.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, and actually, Peter, I don't know if you'd like to. Eli and I did horror movies that we enjoy.
That was fun. Yeah,
that was a fucking great episode, and that was about a month ago, maybe.
Yeah, it was just before Halloween, I think.
Yeah, just around that time.
Yeah. So all right, well, we can end this now, so we can take a little break, and then we'll do that episode in a little bit. I'll just message you on Instagram in a little bit here. And thanks everyone for watching.
See you guys. Have a good one.
Cheers.
Cheers.